Just 5 rounds remain in the 11th and final season of the Catalyst 317 Indy Elite Series. And with the last race of the season covering 500 miles at Indianapolis, drivers have to prep their skills for a 400-miler at another fierce track. Long Pond, Pennsylvania's Pocono Raceway has 3 unique turns, a challenge that has earned the track the nickname, the Tricky Triangle. Fitting then for this venue to be one of the 3 on the Catalyst 317 Triple Crown. And welcome to Pennsylvania, and welcome to the Black Magic Studios 160 laps around Pocono. Hi everybody, Kyle Heyer, joined by Finian DeCuna tonight for what is one of the longer races of the season, not quite the longest. That'll be Indy at the end of our 11th and final season with this fantastic league. But 17 drivers tonight, Finian, some going for cash prizes, trying to wrap up their Triple Crown championship.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing these guys get back on the oval. And like you mentioned, this is going to be last time they're going to be at a bigger oval until we head to Indianapolis, with Nashville being the only oval in between. But of course, they're running the short oval package there. So this will be kind of the testing grounds, getting themselves prepared for really a short run. In just about a little over a month, they're going to be heading over to Indianapolis. Well, you mentioned some cash prize on the line. Jacob Oster winning at Texas, the first leg of the Triple Crown for this season, is eligible if he wins all 3. Extra $100 to his name, so we'll see if he can get it done. As well as some cash prize in general for first, second, and third tonight. Nice
day here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. 75-degree air temp, 108 on the racetrack, nice humidity, and just a little bit of a breeze out of the south. That's good news for these lightweight Indy cars on these long straightaways. But the topic every time you come to Pocono is the speed and the challenge of this triangular-shaped racetrack. You got tight corner angles and progressively dropping banking from one to the next. So turn 1, you got the most banking. It drops a little bit off in the tunnel turn at turn 2. And the third and final turn might as well be flat. Not a lot of banking there. And the slipstreams on the straightaways. Get in line and feel that toe. 220 plus miles an hour on the straightaways.
Yeah, it's classic with Pocono being how big that front straightaway is, and drivers utilizing every single inch of that straightaway from wall to wall, trying to break the slipstream of the driver in behind. The slipstream is going to be big and going to be the main way they're going to be making passes. But of course, you got qualifying here set up. It's going to be a long race. You could argue maybe qualifying, maybe not exactly that important, but it definitely helps to start near the front and be out of the chaos. So far, Andreas Light setting on provisional pole.
Jacob Oster is one of the drivers you mentioned, only 8th quick on his opening lap, but I'd expect the second lap here to be a little quicker. It takes a while to wind these things up, and then, whoa, big slip, and Oster's in the wall hard in turn number 1, and just like that, his qualifying effort is over, and that is probably a harbinger of things to come for some drivers that are just trying to find the edge in speed and maybe running a setup that might be a little bit hard to hang on to. Oh, man.
Yeah, and again, these guys are running these setups, again, open setups for Indy Elite Series, and they're on the edge of grip, essentially. You can see right there, you see the car kind of get a little bit to neutral steering, and then the back end just comes around, so a little bit too light, not enough grip on the right rear, and around he goes. So unfortunately, it's going to end his qualifying effort, most likely going to be on the last row, if not near the last row, at a massive impact into turn 1.
Gosh, that's hard to watch, even in the pixel environment, man.
It really is
tough. Jesper Orman jumps to the top of the board. Rashad Craig is one of the last drivers on course, but he's going to run himself out of time. And we have 17 drivers here, and 5 of them didn't even put a qualifying time down. 3 of those did attempt a qualifying run, but were not able to complete it. So challenging conditions here as far as the qualifying conditions are concerned. I think everyone's just trying to run right on the edge of grip, keep the downforce low, and that's biting them here.
Yeah, notably one other a name that's on the list that didn't qualify, but a name we were familiar with from the past, Robert Malechka, is in the field, starting in the number 91 car. I haven't seen his name this season so far, so it'll be his first start, and we know he's very quick on the ovals. I think quite a few, if I'm not mistaken, quite a few of his wins do come from the bigger ovals.
Yeah, you're right, and so he's going to be dialed in. Mike Kitchell joins us again in that 04, the Pennzoil livery. That thing looks fantastic. So, you talk about the challenges of Pocono, the slipstreams. It's a bit of a smaller field tonight. Does that amp up the aggression a little? Knowing that it's a smaller field, you're not going to have the the pack of 25 where everyone's duking, dodging, and diving on the front straightaway. I think it tends to make people a little bit dicier, at least on the opening stages of the race.
It may or may not. I mean, of course, with a smaller field, there's less urgency, especially for the drivers towards the back. Another notable, speaking of drivers near the back, is Hamilton Akabueze, scheduled to start off in 13th without putting a qualifying time down. So drivers, you know, especially the drivers competing for the championship in that championship hunt, that's going to be maybe a concern. But there isn't that much, you know, with 160 laps, you can only have so much urgency, especially because we are going to, I think, expect this race to go green for quite a while, especially in the earlier stages. So yes and no. Yeah, I think when it gets later on, when the laps start to wind up, that's when you're going to see that urgency jump up. Drivers diving all over into the turns, moving all over the straightaway to break the slipstream. That's when we're going to see the agency kick up, especially. Because remember, being a Triple Crown, there's 1.5 points on the line.
Right, so extra points and just extra challenge, I think, with these tight corners. You're in the corner for a long time. The car's loaded up for a long time on the right front tire. We've seen at times where drivers get in a little deep, they get in a little over their heads, and once you back out of the throttle, it's already too late. If you have to lift, you're going in the fence. If you didn't get it all done on the entry to the corner and you didn't get your car perfectly balanced, it's so easy just to run it up the hill. And by the time you realize it's happening, it's usually too late. So any crash tonight is going to be end of your night, I imagine. So you have to make sure that you don't make a big mistake early on and you make it to the end. Hamilton Akabueze that you mentioned, most recent winner on an oval, won both at Milwaukee and at Iowa on those small tracks. Can he follow it up with a win here on the bigger stuff?
Well, you see, I'm looking through the list, and there's a big name that's not here, and I have to imagine at this point this is effectively a retirement from the championship. Brandon Trino is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, and it's despite the trio of victories at the beginning of the season, and since then it has just been a disaster for Brandon Trino, and it's such a disappointing way to kind of go out with such a strong start. But you know, looking at his last couple of events, 14th at Texas, 18th at Milwaukee, 19th at Iowa, those were crashes in all those. So just didn't go his way. And unfortunately, you know, you mentioned a retirement from the season. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to drop to the bottom of the standings, but a championship is looking pretty unlikely.
Yeah, at this point. So that's going to effectively leave it. I mean, it's still fairly close. Jacob Oster, Jesper Orman, Kevin Burrell, Hamilton Akabueze remain the favorites for the championship at this point. Oster has been shown to be really the next best driver in this series, aside from Trino, is competing up there, 1 win to his name. Hamilton Akabueze, too, we have to talk about as well. We were talking about him before, has also been on a really strong run recently, as 2 wins to his name in his machine. And of course, going to be having a little bit extra work to do for tonight, but winning 2 of the last 3 races, I think definitely is going to be playing in your favors. And then Jesper Orman, who he seemed being a little bit quiet as of late, he didn't miss a race, but there is 1 drop week for the drivers. So in the championship, you should be almost on point with Jacob Oster. And then Kevin Burrell has just been extremely consistent all season long.
Yeah, Burrell has been, he says, really had an unbelievable round ever since we kicked things off in December at Homestead. Burrell 7th there, then 5th, then 5th, then 5th. He had 1 off round at Milwaukee, 17th there, but then 5th and then 2nd at Road America. So he's really looking good. Where is Burrell at the moment? I do not see him.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was just looking at the list. I don't see him as well, and that's not going to be good for him because, again, you're missing out not just on a round, which is fine. You're given that 1 drop week, but to drop a Triple Crown event, you have the extra bonus points on the line. That's huge. Just for showing up and attending, you get some points, at least to your name, but unfortunately, it looks like he might not be participating in this event.
Here's another name that hasn't yet shown face in the season. He's up at the top of the timing charts right now. This is a name that we're very familiar with. That's Jason Brophy in the 88, making his return to IES competition. Has not yet made a start this season.
Between him and Malechka, I think we're going to be in for a really good race tonight. A lot of big names we've seen in series past or in seasons past for this series. And we've seen their name up near the top of the timing sheet. I mean, we're looking at one right now with Brophy fastest in warm-up that's just coming to an end. So definitely going to be one to keep an eye on as this race starts and gets underway.
Well, practice is complete. Qualifying is complete. Warm-up is complete. It's time to head down to the racetrack now for 160 laps in the Blackmagic Studios 400. Big thanks to Blackmagic Studios for coming on board again for another race sponsorship, this time here in Long Pond, PA. This is going to be a long one, folks. 7 o'clock, just after, almost quarter after 7 on the East Coast. In about an hour and 50 minutes and some change, probably 2 hours, we're going to know who wins this race. 17 drivers on the grid. We'll get down and bring you the starting lineup here in just a moment's time. One last look at the weather, though, before we launch in. It's cooled off a little bit. 104 track temp, 76 or so in the air. The wind has picked up slightly, and that might be a consideration for cars that are more on the edge.
Yes, yeah, that's a fact you got to consider on keeping in the back of your mind. I mean, I don't even think you technically really see the wind when you're driving or know the wind speed, but setting up accordingly, going off into these turns, that can make the cars on edge. You got to make those micro adjustments to adjust.
Trying to get the pace car. I've always I don't know how, but I can't pick the pace car ever.
I made cameras for the pace car, and they're unable to be used because we can't select it, unfortunately.
I mean, you can in the UI, but
yes,
we don't operate that way, so it's...
No.
Well, cars are rolling off. We've got a pace lap to get you the starting lineup. We'll take you there now and walk you through the grid for the Blackmagic Studios 400. Kicking things off on row number 1 is Jesper Orman in the number 4. Second in the championship, 47 back from Oster. Tonight he can make some big gains. Mark Murphy starts alongside of him.
Moving on back in row number 2, Andreas Ike, we know, is typically a driver that may be a little bit quiet in the early goings, but definitely watch out for him in the later running. Might be up there near the top to finish off strong. Tony Shallon's right next to him in 4th, great qualifying effort for 31.
AJ Musselman rolls off 5th at number 54. Craig Forsyth in the 99 starts 6th place.
Moving on back to 7th, Pedro Blevel in the number 3 machine. Julian Altona, he's going to be rolling off in 8th, starting next to him in the 11.
9th place, Joe Branch in the orange, black, and white Catalyst 317 car. David Adams in the 00 rolls off in 10th.
Moving on back, row number 6, very strong row. Jacob Oster in the number 16, starting in 11. We'll see what he can do from the back to the front. Jason Brophy, another strong car, starting off in 12th in the 88. In
13th place, Hamilton Akabueze has had a really strong run at the short ovals. To see what he can do at the big ones. Rashad Craig in the green number 21 starts 14th.
Moving on back to 15th, Andrew Marquez going to be rolling off 15 in the 63. Robert Maleshka next to him in the 91, rolling off in 16.
Yeah, starting from a long ways back. We'll see what he can do. Tim Holgate, 17th place in the number 6. Mike Kitchell rounds out an 18-car grid with the late add of Jason Brophy, I believe, was the late one. So Brophy starts 12th. Surprised to see the crash from one of the drivers up at the front, Jacob Oster, in qualifying. So he's got some work to do, but it is 160 laps, 400 miles. In the Blackmagic Studios 400. It's time to go racing at Pocono. The Tricky Triangle has some things up its sleeve. Here we go. Underway, the Catalyst 317 Triple Crown, round 2 from Pocono. For the lead into the tunnel turn, your Mark Murphy drives to the inside of Orman, takes the top spot away. And a little side-by-side with Joe Branch in the background, and 3 wide here. This is dicey. Pedro Blevel on the outside.
Some drivers wasting no time. Julian Alta to the inside, and they're both going to split around. That is not Jacob Oster, sorry. That is Craig Forsyth in the number 99 that they split around, so he gets dropped back a spot. Jacob Oster trying to catch up and actually under attack at the moment. It looks like David Adams trying to make a pass on him.
Jesper Orman going for the race lead on the outside of Mark Murphy. Gets it done at turn 1. So back to the lead again. Little side-by-side further back with Blevel and that number 3. Remember, he had that crash early on at Road America. Had a pretty nice rebound after that. But Altona moving forward in that number 11 from 8th to 5th. And that was tight out of the tunnel turn.
As far as pushing this hard this early, again, we have a long, long race ahead. I mean, we're looking at 2 hours if we go all the way from here to the end. And, there's you may argue maybe a little bit too early to be aggressive. Some drivers say this is a great chance. Everyone's close together. This is a great chance to make up some spots. Altona wasting no time to do that. Big thing, though, to consider as well is, you're going to have to watch out for your tires. You're going to be pushing 30 laps. I believe these guys are on a full tank of fuel for this race. Normally they run, I think, around 70 to 80% tanks. So you're going to have to manage those tires a little bit better and keep an eye on them. And we saw Oster push a little bit too hard and spin out in qualifying. So definitely going to be tire management, big thing for this race.
Now Oster underneath Pedro Blevel in the tunnel turn. That's a corner that can get away from you quickly. But Oster trying to move back forward. Remember, he qualified 11th, had that big crash, ugly crash in qualifying. And I think you just have to think of this race like an endurance, right? You're kind of working back from the end. All the pit stops that you have, there's a lot of pit stops in this race. This is a long one here. And for the lead again, Orman and Murphy trading spots once more.
Yeah, I'm going to expect, actually Murphy gets a little bit tight in turn 1. I think facing some of the air wash from Orman's car up ahead. But will maintain in slipstream distance easily of the number 4 machine. And of course, I think we're going to see them kind of trade places on and on as the race goes. Just keep their lead ahead. work together. Competition, as I know one of your favorite terms.
Yep. Andreas Ike also entered in this race. He's only run 3 rounds, and it was all ovals that he's run, so no road courses for the 76. And as the tires wear out, it's one of those places that can be really painful to have to follow in line, burn up those tires as Mark Murphy switches back. These drivers seem comfortable with this at the moment, just kind of leapfrogging when they get the runs and opportunity and saving a little fuel in the process.
Yeah, that could be a potentially big thing as well, because these guys are expected to burn around 28 to 29 laps by themselves. To see another move from Orman to the inside, and turn 2 gets the spot. But, you know, with Slipstream, you can easily extend it to 30, maybe 31 laps if you're really saving. If you turn down the fuel mode, maybe 32. And that can be pretty big for these guys because, you know, looking at the lap count, they're just around, you know, if you hit 30 laps a run, you're looking at about 4 or 5 pit stops. So you could potentially cut out a pit stop if you save that much extra fuel. And then you're also saving your tires as well by not pushing. But speaking of pushing, here's Oster and Schowen for 6th place.
Yeah, Oster making moves forward. Altana's progress has sort of stalled out. Remember, he made up a couple spots early and has sort of since ridden in line. Pedro Blebel has been in a couple of fights so far. Drops in behind Forsyth in the 99 as Murphy goes back to the front, the point. David Adams in the 00. Let's talk this car for a second. Started 10th, staying 10th. Low as 10th, as high as 10th. This is about as standard as it gets for the 00 this season.
Yeah, it's typically been around where he's running, but he's looking to be pretty quick. He looks like he wants to make a move. Speaking of making a move, next to him on his left side is Hamilton Akaboise, just out of frame, is trying to make a move. He's got some places to go, and it looks like at the moment, Greg Forsyth is kind of the cork in the bottle. There's a little bit of a separation between himself and the leaders, and I'm sure Hamilton Akaboise sees that and doesn't want to be separated as David Adams makes a move to the inside. Can't get it done. That run out of turn 1 too good as Blebel will hold 9th.
Orman back to the point over Murphy. Big run into the tunnel turn. You have to manage those runs not to carry too much speed and push up the racetrack. Very lane sensitive to tunnel turn. You wash up the hill there, get yourself in big trouble. Turn 1, you can get away with running a higher lane as long as you go in there expecting to do that. Tight between Musselman and Altana now.
Side by side, Altana trying to pick up one more spot. See if he can get it done around Musselman. Again, the outside lane, typically the better place to be. Can Musselman keep it going on the inside? I don't quite think so. It's a little bit tight past to yield. Altana, one more spot. A great run for the 11. Again, I'm a little bit concerned with this push early on. We'll see if he can last the entire run. And he's going to try to see if he can catch back up to the top 3. But a great run so far, great start. Let's look back at this battle for position. Look at Hamilton Akaboise in 11, trying to make a move on Blebel. Adams got around. Here comes Akaboise to the point.
I get nervous when you see drivers that tight nose to tail. You don't have a lot of air on the nose of the car. And Blebel's going to return the favor here, I think. Or he'll just sit and wait. Patience.
No, he's going to sit because the issue is when you pull out a line like that, Akaboise is still going to get the toe from Adams up ahead. So you kind of lose out. And I think he's going to sit behind for the moment. Take a look at Mark Murphy in the lead ahead, just 2/10 ahead of Orman. And then Andreas Ike sitting very quietly in behind the leaders in 3rd. And I always talk about, you know, Andreas Ike, he's the definition of speak softly and carry a big stick. Doesn't make the flashy moves, doesn't make the great, you know, the pass for the win necessarily early on, but when he's there, when it's near the end of the race, that 76 car finds its way to the front and will start to attack.
Just quietly does it. Doesn't make a lot of noise, doesn't fight with anybody, doesn't argue with anybody, just Kimi Räikkönen's the whole thing.
Yeah, basically. that is a great comparison. As Julian Altana has caught up to this, so we might see Ike potentially lose out on 3rd because 11 is planning on going all the way forward or seeing as forward as he can.
Sim lift there. I don't think he wanted to make the run to the tunnel turn. As the leaders go side by side, they've not been shy about trading that spot.
Yeah, and it's part of that competition I talked about before. You know, they benefit from swapping the lead like that. It prevents less drivers from catching up from behind them. Because they can just keep utilizing the draft to their advantage, and you know the slipstream down the front straightaway is so big. As you look at Altana complete the pass on Ike, so he's finally in the top 3, and I don't think he's going to stop now.
Now he throttled up around the outside there, and I heard the tires protesting a little, so I do worry about the long-term pace of that car over the course. The run, the driver's really getting tight to the fence out of turn 1, but it doesn't seem to be slowing him down a whole lot right now. Ran a good bit faster than pretty much everybody except the leader last time by. Oster now hounding Ike into turn 3.
looking to the outside, Ike all the way on the inside, and should get a decent run. You can see the run building out of turn 3, makes a move, looks to the inside, and the issue is that Ike's going to get a little bit of slipstream, but as Altona moves out, there he goes up and ahead, and Altona looking for the lead. How about that? Big run into turn 1.
And he's going to take it. Mark Murphy gets sucker hold there in the middle of turn 1. Ike's going to have a big run, and things are heating up now that tires are wearing out a little bit. Here comes Oster in the 16 to the lead.
Wow, massive move for Altona and Altona and Oster, as they both get around Orman and put him back. That was a great fight for position there. Oster doing a great job, up 10 spots from 11th to 1st, Altona from 8th to 2nd. Two of the biggest movers this race. And now they're going to push the envelope.
Musselman might have caught the wall out of turn 3 just a little bit.
Sim thought he did was a spark, but it looked like he avoided it.
That didn't work. Whatever that was.
Okay. I can confirm you didn't actually hit the wall. You got close though.
My replay button didn't replay, but I got it fixed now. We're good. Altona all over Oster here, putting some pressure on now. And I wanted to point out that while all this is going on up here at the front, one of the cars that hasn't really made a lot of progress that I'm surprised about is Robert Malechko. Made some, but not a lot.
Yeah, he's sitting quietly, and again, he's not too far. I mean, he's only 5 seconds behind the leader. That's not too far. And again, we're now approaching halfway, or around halfway through this run. These cars expect to go around 30 laps on a stint. So again, now's when I think we're going to see maybe a bit of a crossover point.
Altona tagged the fence out of turn 1, and Oster on his heels pulls up alongside and takes the lead. Watch this. Whew, just tagged him.
Saw the 11 get tight and took advantage of the situation, made the move in turn 2 and is ahead, but of course I think that's not going to last for long. We typically see the leading position trade quite often, and here comes Altona back to the inside. And they're really pushing hard. I think Orman and Murphy, I should say, or I think running a slightly conservative pace, I think, is watching their tires. Oster and Altona are pushing hard. They're pretty much separated themselves from the rest of the field.
Yeah. Does this bode well for their long-term pace? Maybe not, but I mean, who cares about long-term pace if you're winning the race? I don't care if they're slow in 30 laps if they have a 10-second advantage over everybody else. This is a mess back here. Look at this.
It's very, very tight quarters here. And we're talking about Hamilton Aquaboys. I guess he heard us, maybe? He's trying to push a little bit more. Just made a pass on David Adams for the position and closing in. I think last time we checked on him, he was... we're talking about Malechko. Malechko is still hanging out in behind, but he's, I think, also starting to catch up to this group and maybe make some forward progress. So we're probably seeing that turnover point.
Yeah, starting to see some shuffling. The field's sort of accordioning back together again.
Comers and goers, as they say. Tony Schowen making a move. You just saw his car step up the line, making a move on Mark Murphy, who's now starting to fall more and more to the back. And maybe Mark Murphy pushed himself a little too hard.
Yeah, he was definitely really shredding it up there at the front with Jesper Orman. But now Orman's falling back to third. He's got Andreas Ike right with him. But these two out front are setting the pace for this race.
Trying to ride the line. I was trying to hear Altona and Osmer talking to each other. I'm not sure if they're necessarily happy with each other. I was trying to listen in.
I think racing cars like these that are so sensitive to the aero, as you see Altona lose the spot here to Orman. Whoa, that's tight.
Whoa.
Orman had to back out. That was near disaster there. But my point being, he'll lose another spot there to Ike, is that you can make another driver mad just by driving your car differently. You don't have to run into him. You have to just put your car in a different lane, and it's annoying. You know, it's.
Yeah, I did an official race in Michigan a long time ago, and I had someone in front of me kind of push me up into the wall. They just drove ahead. They were driving ahead. They didn't physically move me up, but they kept that dirty air up to me and kind of forced me into the wall. And then he just put in the text chat, LOL.
Yeah. So
that made me very angry.
Yeah. So
I was really annoyed at that.
The thing that we're going to see a lot tonight is over the course of this race, there's going to be drivers and teams that set up their cars in two different ways. It's going to be those that set it up to be fast on their own and those that set their car to be fast and maneuverable in traffic. They are mutually exclusive trade-offs. You're not going to have a setup that can do everything well. So you have to decide whether or not, like Orman, for example, was really fast when he was out front, but you put him in traffic and that thing struggles to turn up underneath somebody. So is that the compromise that he's made, to have that thing pointy and straight and you know, suck in the ground out front?
Interesting thing is, as I look through the rest of the field, there is not a lot of diversity in the wicker setup. Everyone's running pretty much identical front end, rear wing wicker, which is, for those that don't know, an extension you add to the wing to give yourself some extra downforce at the cost of drag. And pretty much everyone has the same wicker setting. You usually see a little bit of diversity with this series, but it seems everyone's settled in on the same idea.
You can see that.
At least for aerodynamics. Like mechanical is yet to be known.
That carbon strip on the trailing edge of the front wing there that we're talking about. There goes Akabueze and Mark Murphy side by side for 6th into turn 1. This will be a great perspective of this pass on board with B99.
It looks like Akabueze is going to get the spot ahead of Murphy. Forsythe's going to actually stay ahead of Jason Brophy, who's trying to make a move on him. There you see his green car in behind the number 88 machine. And Mark Murphy actually going to make a move back on Akabueze into turn 2. And this little bit of battling, it's costing them. They're losing quite a bit of time to the rest of the top 5. And we'll see who's going to be the one that kind of decides to take point and lead this little pack. Because at the moment, everyone's starting to catch back up here.
Yeah, the 88 of Jason Brophy starting to make some forward progress there. The power slide car. 12th up to 9th, plus 3 at this stage of the race. Mark Murphy make some momentum on the outside lane there. Second back to 7th, and then this is getting a little dicey with this group back here. Lots of trading spots. There's Brophy now on the inside of Craig Forsythe. He'll complete that pass. And for the lead.
And it looks, yep. Alton making a move back on the inside of Oster, trying to keep it going. I think Oster's going to have a better time in turn 3 with the run on the outside, and there he goes off into the distance. Meanwhile, Hamilton Akabueze. It looks like Hamilton Akabueze and Mark Murphy there deciding to work together. Try to see if they can catch back up to the leaders.
Andreas like at 76, he's been a persistent third-place runner. Looking to make a move now on Altona for 2nd. It's like the patience that we see out of this car.
Yeah, you hear Altona and Oscar trading comments to each other. I think they're trying to see if they can. I think Oscar wants to work together a little bit more. And although Altona's willing more to fight for the spot. Here comes Andreas Ike sensing blood in the water. He was making a move previously. But now backed off. Orman potentially smelling blood in the water now for 3rd.
Yeah, it's one of those situations. You make a move that doesn't work, you're going to get swallowed up by the next guy on the list. Yeah, he's way up there against the outside. Well, look at the run he built, though. Kyle Larson's in this car.
It's kind of risky. Again, the new marble system, you don't necessarily want to go offline. You can go offline a little bit, but he really committed to the outside and held it. I mean, we haven't had that many laps, so it's not terrible at this point, but that was some commitment. Got it to work up to 3rd.
I suppose if you run up there enough, there wouldn't be marbles up there. But there's going to be marbles somewhere at the end of this race because we're going to shred a whole bunch of tires. So the question is, are you going to have to track across a lane that no one's used to get to that upper groove later on in the night?
Yeah, actually, now that I look about it, I don't see really any marbles there. So it's fairly clean of debris at the moment.
It's a fairly small field, but it is a long race. And you know what, the other thing that seems to affect the marble buildup is how diverse the lines are, right? If everyone's running the same line, the track rubbers up very quickly, and then you start to see the marbles shred off the tires. But if you've got a wide surface and you're using a lot of it, it's spreading all that wear from the cars across the width of the track, so it just takes longer to form them. We have a ways to go before I think we rubber the thing completely.
Oh, definitely got a long way to go. And not too long of a way to go to pit stops. I think the driver's going to start thinking about it now, getting towards the end of this fuel run. Again, expecting pit stops around lap 29, 30, 31, 32. So we're going to start to see some drivers start to make their trips down to pit lane. And again, I think a lot of them are going to be aiming for at least lap 30, because if you pit a little bit sooner, you might have to come in for an extra stop from the end. Expecting this to go green, which so far, fairly clean and green. I don't see why we can't go green, at least for a very long time.
Yeah, I would expect that if we were to get a yellow, it would be later in the race when the moves start getting bigger. Right now, we've got a lot of drivers leaving space for each other, and knowing that this is a long event. And right now, you you just want to get triple digits on that lap count in the first, right? I mean, we've got so long in this race to go. Akabueze and Mark Murphy, this is for 6th. This has been a battle that's been pervasive.
Gotta say the one driver that I'm really interested in seeing run well is Tony Schowen. He's having a really good run. We're effectively near the end of this stint. And he's had usually a lot of short run pace, but so far in this event, he's still running in the top 5. He's still running right with the leaders. And he's looking, I really don't want to jinx him. It's still very early on in this race, but he's set to finish off very strong in this event if he can keep this pace going. Just to compare, his best finish so far this season was 13th place. So, looking at a really solid improvement there.
Yeah, pacing himself nicely, I think, too. Not pushing super hard. But, you know, Julian Alton, we were concerned about him pushing too hard. It really hasn't hurt him that much over the course of this run.
Yeah.
He's still up in 3rd. Remember, he started back in 8th place, and that charge was pretty fierce.
And if anything, we see Mark Murphy, actually, who I thought was running a little bit more conservatively. Didn't seem like he was really pushing the envelope, but he's fallen back to 6th. Not terribly far off the pace, but he's back in 6th place compared to where he was running up for the lead. And for that matter, Orman, he's actually still running up there and actually just got around Altona. And looking at seeing if he can get back up to Austria here before these pit stops start.
Akabueze widening out, arcing into turn 1. Kind of came across the nose of Mark Murphy there. Have a look at this. Just a moment ago. Ooh, that's always scary, right? When you turn in, too. Downforce to the no downforce, right when you need it most.
Sent.
Yeah.
If anything. So Murphy back around him. So continuing their game of leapfrog here. Push to lap 29. This is when the pit window is going to start to open up here. As it seems like you can tell that also the pit stops are warming up. There's a lot less action except for the leaders of each pack. Trading spots, everyone's getting more single file here.
Really like what Ike's doing, just the quiet presence that he has had at the front. He'll go out there and lead the race if he feels like that's the best thing for him to do, but he consistently seems like just kind of riding around 3rd, 4th place, saving fuel. This is the right place for him to be. He's got speed. I just don't think he's showing it all right now.
No, definitely not. Honestly, I always like his strategy, trying to run like that. Looks like Jason Brophy's entering the battle, and Mark Murphy's trying to deny him. Going to throw to the inside turn 1, gets tight. Brophy will come out ahead. Akabueze around the outside of Mark Murphy, who really lost out in that battle. Back to 8th for him, but Akabueze not done. Still a charge on the back straightaway.
Making a run for it, and he's through. Fighting
David Adams calling out that he is coming down pit road. Be one of the first drivers to come down the pit, so I figure a couple more will follow.
See if anybody beats him to the punch. Big push for Mark Murphy out of turn 3. And Adams will be the first driver to hit pit lane, and he will not have anybody follow him this time.
Yeah, I think a couple of drivers are going to try to push the stint as much as they can.
Mike Kitchell had beat him down there, but he's a lap down.
Kitchell in last place with the only car lap down at the moment as David Adams gets service. Meanwhile, for 3rd place, Andreas Ike making a move on Altona. Will get it to the inside and get that position back.
Probably start seeing some other drivers make some decisions, and here comes Oster and Orman. And looks like Mark Murphy also peeling off. He was badly in need of some tires.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was kind of almost surprised he didn't come down the last time. He was really struggling that dirty air. And what that's telling me is him being tight like that is that he's probably pushing too much on the right front, not the right rear, as big lockup from Joe Branch.
Got it woed down. Andreas Ike takes the lead. Leads his first lap of the night.
Catching up to David Adams there, but Andreas Ike will stay out one more lap. Altona into pit road. Schowen, Akabueze will stay out with Brophy, Forsythe down. Ooh, big lockup for him.
Gets it slowed down. And into the box. 9.2 second stop for Oster, half a second quicker than Orman, so keeps the advantage and in theory would cycle out to the lead, but we'll see where things land.
Yeah, man. Very like staying out. I'm not surprised by that. We saw him running very conservatively. So he's just sitting by, saving fuel, and it's right the drivers to go around the long. They're still waiting on 5 drivers to come in: Ike, Brophy, Akblaze, Malechka, and Craig. And it looks like Ike is coming on down. And Brophy actually staying on 1 more lap.
33 laps complete. He'll be coming down on lap 34 if he hits next time.
Almost making me question, I wonder if he can cut out an extra stop pushing that many laps. I don't think so. We'll whip out the calculator. Give me a second. No, not quite. Interesting seeing how the field is shaken up once these pit stops finish out. If you see any change in the order, Orman and Oster are going back to it, fighting for what should psychologically lead.
Yeah, so Malechka, 91, 35 laps. So long he'll be the last driver to pit, and maybe that's why we didn't see so much progress. He's really thinking long game here, and we documented his experience, saving all that fuel, kind of riding around in the back. Lap times significantly slower over the course of the run, but his best lap, Vinny, and here's the interesting stat for me, he has the best lap of anyone in this race.
Here's when he ran that lap. That lap was on lap 14.
It's significantly faster than everybody else's best. Like a full 10th quicker than everybody else.
Yeah, utilized the switch between the knots. He pushed up a little bit. I think he was trying to keep in draft for him, but it'd be interesting to see him commit to the long haul like this.
Orman and Oster. So he basically gained 2 or 3 laps on the field, and over the 4 or 5 pit stops. That is a lot. That's like half a run that he's going to gain if he continues to do that.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised you guessed me. That was actually a really good guess. I was just doing the math. That is essentially half a run that he's saving.
Yeah, 4 times 3 basically.
I mean, you should be good at math. You did
well,
electrical engineering.
Here we are, Finian. So I don't know how much that's really helped me. But look at the gap that these guys have on the rest of the field here. 3 seconds back to Schauer.
That's also what surprised me as well, because I was looking at Alton and there's a massive gap. And I'm looking at their pit lane times, and I don't see much of a difference. I'm not sure if Oster or Orman just did a really good job of getting back into pit lane and then getting back out. But it's a pretty big gap. He made up an entire 3.5 seconds on the rest of the field.
That is a sizable gap. And if they can just continue to plug away at that, you can lock everyone else in a pretty tight box and force them to have to do some alternate strategy, which is hard enough to win these races on the same strategy as everyone else, let alone have to, middle of the race, come up with something different.
Yeah, really solid job by them to get out ahead. From Schauer in 3rd, Ike in 4th, Alton in 5th. That's going to be the next group of drivers. And Brophy, Hamilton, Akblaze are trying to catch back up to them.
Look at the run. It's just how much that car sucks up to the one in front of it. Oster's got a really strong hot rod tonight.
Yeah, really the main goal for them now is just to kind of keep this little powwow going of just exchanging position, utilizing the draft and the slipstream to their advantage to maintain this lead. And then really the guys in behind, they need to kind of get on the same wavelength with this between Ike and Schauer.
Big run from Orman past the Team I-5G car. Must be nice to have fresh Firestones on, keep that thing pinned in turn 3.
I'm going to check where is Mark Murphy. He's back in 11th. It has not really been a good run so far for the race for the number 69 machine.
He started strong and led some laps early in the race, swapping back between himself and Orman, but after he dropped out of the front too, it was just backwards, backwards, backwards.
And effectively, he is in line with the rest of this main second pack that's now starting to kind of converge on one another. So he will be able to make up some spots. He's going to have to work for it, though.
Yeah, Tony Schauen is leading a little train here. Andreas Ike, Altona, Akabueze, and Jason Brophy. That 88's another car I'm watching. We know Malechka is, working on a strategy, but it's only one lap different up to Jason Brophy, and he's a lot further up the road as far as track position is concerned.
I'd be interested in seeing either Altona, Akabueze, or Brophy lead this, because all three of those cars are looking pretty quick at the moment. I would say maybe a little bit quicker than Schauen and Ike, but I say that as Akabueze gets really tight in turn one, has to let Altona on by.
Someone just fell off the roof.
If you're building? Or in the sim?
I don't know. Anyway.
On that note, back to the race.
Anyways, for the lead again, these two, again, we always talk about the competition, but notable here, 40 laps into a 160-lap race, 1/4 of the way through.
They're building up about a 10th or so a lap, which may not seem like a lot, but the fact that they're breaking away is really boding well for them.
Well, with 120 laps to go, a 10th a lap is a lot.
Yeah. It definitely adds up. I mean, by the end of this run, they're looking at getting at least 3 seconds by themselves. Unless this next group can really kind of muster something up, but they're battling maybe a little bit too much potentially here. It seems like Altona and Ike have got it working together. They're not exactly making up time. Akabueze trying to get around Altona. Brophy seems to be kind of kicking his legs up and relaxing in this group. Not really pushing at the moment. And David Adams also hanging out just in tail end and knee.
Yeah, I think if we're going to kind of just expect Brophy and Malechka to play some...
the 7 of Akabueze just got really close to the wall, really washed up there.
The 88 and the 91, Brophy and Malechka, if they're playing that longer game strategy, they're not going to be as aggressive. They'll take a position if they can get it, but they're not going to go up there and run it down and battle side by side and wear out the tires. They need to sort of play the team game here.
Brophy gets around Akabueze, got a great run out of turn 1 past Altona and Akabueze on the same straightaway. So he's up to 5th. And let's see if he maybe wants to swap in with Ike and Schauen. They want to change up that order. They're still not making progress, still losing about a 10th a lap consistently.
They're swapping once again. Not much of a news story up here unless they make a mistake out of it.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if they do. And kind of fitting, right? We have our 2 points leaders trading blows with one another near the top of the order.
No Kevin Burrell to break up the party either. The next driver in the points, Hamilton Akabueze, 4th. He is 6th on the racetrack at the moment, running right in behind Jason Brophy.
Akabueze lining up in behind. He's around Altona pushed back to 7th place. Really impressed by Altona's run in the first stint. The fact he's able to maintain that speed and stay near the front, with me expecting to fall off, but he never did that in the number 11 machine. He's looking a little bit more quiet this run. I think that he's in has some decent track position. Actually kind of building up a gap. He's about a second behind, hanging out behind Akabueze.
Yeah, definitely not as strong pushing forward on this run. You saw the aggression in the opening stage of the race where he just kind of blew by everybody, throttled up and went, but it seems like as far as lap times go, he's a little bit off, a couple hundredths off. Just hasn't really lit the afterburners like he did that opening run.
Brophy had a really good run at turn 2, thought he might have carried into turn 3 on the inside of Ike, did not. He's running on that curb. These guys are making me really nervous running that curb in turn 3. And typically these cars do not like the curb.
Yeah, you can see that rumble strip just kind of off to the right of the screen there. It is not particularly rough, but it's pretty low grip. I mean, every time there's a divot, the tire's not necessarily dropping into those things. It's skipping over them, so it's like half the pavement's not even there. So you unload that tire a little bit, it can swap ends on you quick. patience being displayed here. They're just not. They're racing each other, but it's just not competitively. If that makes any sense.
At the moment, of course, you got to give it 100 laps, and then there's going to be a whole lot less give and a much more takeoff. Speaking of takeoff, boys, he takes a position away from Jason Brophy, up to 5th for him.
That 7 car, everyone should be taking note of this because he is quietly working his way forward tonight. Remember, he started in 13th, not as high as 4th earlier, but he's got 2 lap fresher tires than those at the very front. He's running 4th in the standings. He's won on ovals this year. That pink and black car has snuck through and stolen some, and I don't think tonight will be any different. He's got a good piece.
Tell you what, also Robert Malechka, it was interesting seeing where he popped down back in line. Of course, we saw him really hyper stint that first run in 35 laps. He's right in behind these guys, essentially. He's in the same group. He's hanging out right behind Craig Forsyth, not too far off, and he's got significantly fresher tires than everyone else ahead of him.
Yeah, I mean, is that Malechka's move on these long runs? Like, is it even really about winning pits as far as the whole race is concerned, or the fact that he's just going to have a massive tire advantage at the ends of these runs?
We're going to kind of wait and see what he's got planned.
You would just think that, I mean, every time you talk about that strategy where you pit later, you're giving up time at the beginning of the run, though, right? So you're hoping that you're going to gain it back just to get back to 0. So I think it's got to be more about the whole length of the race. But you're right, we're not going to know the result.
The thing is, he didn't really give up that much time, which was kind of what I was more surprised about. I thought he would have maybe lost a couple of seconds, but he actually came out pretty much right where he pitted at. So it was very efficient in that way, and effectively he ran the tires long. He's got the tires, and he didn't give up time.
Roman get the fence out of 1. Oh, he's watched the suspension again. I think he knocked it in a little bit. Watch the right front. There's definitely some damage.
Yeah, it went and reset, but I mean, he definitely hit it a decent amount to potentially cause damage. Gonna be now question is how much damage and can he, handle it? So we have to kind of wait him behind. This could end a little bit of a run they had together.
Yeah, we'll see if he's got. I mean, that was 0.6 of a second slower that lap. He's still running this high lane. He likes it up there, but he pushed big time. And is it going to continue? It did again, but he managed to keep it out of the wall. Didn't have to lift, but that car not cooperating with him quite so much up there. Malechka hounding David Adams for 9th.
He's starting to push up a little bit harder now in this run. Looks like Pedro Bubbles made an unscheduled stop down the pit lane. Not sure what that's for, if he's trying to offset his stint.
110 laps to go. That would be, what is that, 30, 30, 20? Something like that?
I guess, maybe, I don't know. That's an interesting call. Didn't get any repairs or anything, and he's back out. He's a lap down, which is the thing he's got to be a little bit more worried about.
Yeah, puts you off sequence. We're not expecting yellow, so I don't mind breaking things up, but maybe just added a pit stop to the race that he didn't need. So we'll see if that pans out. I don't think the lap time difference is enormous.
Oh, man, I just saw Mark Murphy with a dangerous run to the turn 1 wall. He comes back out, and he's actually going to muscle ahead of A.J. Musselman.
What happened with the 69 just now?
You can see their Musselman gets up front and gets that dirty air. Oh, man. There's that little part of the wall in turn 1 that feels like it juts out. And you're only very close to tapping it.
Ray Syke to 3rd place, past Tony Schau. A little smoke out of turn 1. What's that all about?
Not sure.
Am I tripping? I think maybe I'm hallucinating.
On the entry or the exit?
Exit. I'm hallucinating. I was out late last night. Real talk, I completely forgot about daylight savings time. And the bar closes at 3 and it hit 2 and the bar closed. And I was like, what? And I got in my Uber and I looked at my phone. I was like, oh man, that sucks.
I didn't realize until Saturday that, until the day before that daylight savings. I was like, oh. I for some reason also thought that we were going to go back an hour, so we gained that hour, but nobody lost it.
No, I just gained it in a time that I didn't want to gain it, and I was at a bar at 3 in the morning, not stoked about that.
Really didn't end it, but anyway, it's a separate discussion.
Yeah. Tony Schau. Let's talk about the political opportunities behind getting rid of four-car battle here for third place. Tony Shallon's at the pointy end here. It actually just ran a quicker lap than Orman, so he's not far off as far as overall pace. There, 4 seconds back.
Remember that Orman, he hit the wall, and him and Oster have not swapped since, and it actually looks like Orman's kind of losing out.
Yeah, he is.
So that car is hurting.
Yeah, have a look on the left-hand side of the screen. Last lap for Orman, 42.29, and that is slower than a lot of cars in the rest of the top 10. So that car is hurt a little bit.
He's not going to get a chance to come down and make any sort of changes until the next pit stop. That's when he can probably get some idea of how bad the damage is, if seconds of repair it needs. And the important thing is you really don't want to waste time down there fixing it, because of the precious seconds lost on the track. I mean, the car is still running and it's still decently quick, but definitely not being able to fight for the lead. So this is very news for that second pack with Ike and Chow. They really need to get things going now to turn the tide and start catching back up, but the lead is not swapping.
Yeah, 2/10 gain for Ike and company on Orman last time around. And this will probably eventually become
And look who is in 7th place right behind this pack.
Yeah, he is just quietly creeping.
Cue the Jaws music.
Yeah, I mean, again, that first run, I was a little confused what was going on, and now I see it. The strategy that the 91 is playing. This is a long race. You don't need to get up there in one run. You don't need to push that hard. He's planning and thinking about the end of this race from the beginning. And so he's got a 5-lap tire advantage over everybody else in front of him, for the most part, other than the 1-lap advantage he's got over Jason Brophy. He's got a lot of speed, fastest car on the racetrack, and a lot of time on his side.
Yeah, and actually, he's one of the fastest cars as far as the best lap of the race, and last lap of round 2 was about 2/10 faster than everyone else, so he's pushing that 91 car.
Yeah, Orman continues to lap at 2 to 3 tenths slower than the race lead. Ooh, car on the wall, hard at it. Is that Murphy again out of turn 2? Or sorry, no, that wouldn't have been Murphy. Who was that? Someone scraped the fence.
Oh, David Adams.
That's who it was. And he's...
The back end of that car came around. Yeah, he definitely got the damage. He put that right rear end.
Yeah, let's watch. Again. Oh, I just walked up the hill on him. That was
he actually, if you look back, he hit the apron. That's what unbalanced the car. Flipped the apron and turned to.
Yeah, right there.
Right there.
Did a good job keeping it relatively straight, but it definitely knocked the rear end out, and that will be a long time on pit lane to get that resolved.
Oh, or not. He's off and away.
All right, we'll take it.
I think he might have been trying to be a little bit more cautious and see, because we're coming close to the pit stop. It's not ideal, but I think he figured might as well come in and check the damage before pushing hard again. So back out on the racetrack for the double-0.
There's also the consideration that if you have a damage that's going to slow you down a tenth or two a lap over the next 100 laps, that's going to be a lot of time. So you might as well get it done now instead of burning up time for the rest of the race.
Curious to see what Orman's going to do with that, because we know that he's got some damage, and that car has not been the same since. He's falling out 3 seconds behind Oster. And that pack is going to close up on him, and I think they're going to kind of keep him alive here. I don't know if that car's going to be able to really fight in dirty air. If it's struggling in clean air as it is right now, he's definitely going to face some issues when the drivers catch back up and start making moves on him.
Oster out front by 3.3 seconds. This is a Sunday drive for that 16.
Yeah, issue that he lost his tango partner. And effectively, the guys in behind can catch back up. As we saw Ike and Akwazi get very close to the wall.
That was really dicey there between those two. Get a little nervous at this stage in the race to start to get comfortable. We saw that happen with David Adams, where he just had a little too much wheel in it, hit the apron, and game over in 2 seconds. So you just got to be real cautious that you're not letting the... Oh! Am I tripping? What just happened? I'm crazy.
Are you okay?
No, I'm hallucinating, dude. I thought I saw...
Hearing people fall off the building, you see smoke out in turn 1.
Oh, I'm like actually losing my mind today.
What did you think you saw?
I thought I saw Brophy spinning. I think it's the green doing something to my eyes.
Hopefully we don't start seeing stuff from GR86 race next weekend.
Oh, no. Is that next weekend already? No, 2
It
weeks.
is, I think, right?
No.
2 weeks, sorry. I'm getting my calendar mixed up.
Gosh, you're
Now I'm
hallucinating too.
losing it.
Oh, man. The SimTV fact checker needs to start paying that guy, too.
We just have the AI tool do it
Just
for
a
us.
third full-time booth member, third voice. Fact check us constantly. David Adams has retired his 00. Nope.
Nope, he just flashed out of existence for a second.
Thought he had Alt F4. And Jesper Orman has gotten run down, and here's Akibueze ready to take it away.
Yeah, Shao made quick work of him, and again, I think just nothing he can do. Yeah, I wonder if he may want to come down to the pit, although now he's on the right-hand side of the track. Comes in behind Akibueze and will not pit, as technically pit window is open.
He just started
these guys are going to stay out.
Just started his 30th lap. Now we saw drivers start to come in around that 30-lap mark, so I'd expect somebody to hit pit lane next time by. Big lift for Orman, struggling in the wake of the 7.
Well, that's the thing. He's got to be even more careful. We saw him already get into the wall once, and last thing he wanted to do is hit it again. Here comes Brophy, move to the inside in turn 2.
Maybe I'm just seeing the future, and Jason's going to spin out later. That's what the smoke is from.
Is that your new power?
Yeah. Start lifting Ford F-150s with my Fox. And here comes Showen off of turn 3, and the leader's in.
Oh, spins it! Oh, and I think he tapped his wing. I think he avoided the tires. But around he goes. That is not what he needed.
No, it is not. And just got in there a little hot. And just walked away from him, and the slightest tap. I think that wing will be all right.
Yeah, unfortunately, the bigger well, it's going to be that track position.
Not how you want to run your pit sequence.
Especially because, again, with how separated everyone's starting to get out, the cans of the caution significantly go down. And Orman's coming into pits, and finally will get a chance to assess the damage. He locks up. This guy's been coming hot tonight.
Jim Musselman on and off.
Oh, Showen got a black flag as well.
He did. Was that probably for speed?
Double check that, but that's what I would assume it would be for.
That's unfortunate. He's having such a good race, and that's going to hurt him a lot. Akibueze and Brophy trading positions. They're currently leading this race. But Akibueze just hit his 30th lap of the run. Brophy on lap 29, so a ways to go. Maybe another 2 or 3 laps for him. I mean, Malechka, they pushed it to lap 35 last time. Now, without as much traffic to draft off of, I don't think they can go that far. But they're likely going to try to extend it.
We'll see how far they can push.
Forsyth.
Continue pushing. Brophy making a move on Akibueze, effective for the lead as it runs.
See if Akibueze does anything with this or if he'll sit on it. I don't think he's close enough to make a move. But look at how he turns in a little sooner just to get the nose some fresh air. It's great driving there to anticipate the aero wash. Just turn in a little bit earlier. Make sure that you're not following directly in the shadow of the car ahead. Andreas Eich and Altona are going to peel off the pit lane.
Off they go. Service of their machinery as Brophy, Akibueze, and Malechka continue onwards, and we'll see them. I think they were one of the last to pit last stint. And I think I heard Akibueze might be coming down this time by.
See if Brophy reacts to that. These two have been sort of in lockstep this run. It's always nice to have a driver right behind you say that they're coming in, so you have the opportunity to kind of block them off. But Brophy is going to stay out on the road, commit to the strategy. Akibueze peels off the pit lane and just misses the pit road attenuator.
Cutting it tight. I mean, technically he straightened it, so you go like maybe a 10th or 100th faster. But you straightened it line ahead. That's flirting with disaster. I mean, if you have an issue with like Showen did, you spin out, you're going to go flying into the barrels.
Yeah, Showen's penalty was a lot, about 40 seconds worth.
Yeah, unfortunate because he had a quick car, and he's not really going to get a chance to get back in this unless We got a caution.
Yeah.
And even then, there's no free pass in the series.
Yeah, it's like effectively ending your night, all down to your braking. And it's just, at a place like Pocono, how much are you really going to gain by pushing that entry? How much could you lose? Everything.
Yeah. Big risk, small reward. Akabueze comes back out of the pits. Brophy continuing again, as well as Akabueze, not surprised. Sorry, Malechka continuing onwards. Oster will be cycling up to be the leader, and we'll get Akabueze in second ahead of Orman in third when they cycle out.
To Malechka, lap 32 of his run. Jason Brophy. The cat is sitting right in front of my screen deck. I need to have that. I need to get him
He
a
knows
bed.
that's distracting you.
I need to
You
get
don't
him.
have a bed for him?
Well, I have it on top of the closet where he likes to hang out.
Oh, so where does he sleep normally? There or?
There or in bed with me, but like they were on the other side of the apartment. He doesn't know what to do with himself, so he sits directly in front of me.
Yeah, I think a second bed would be a good investment.
Yeah, I have a great spot
You
for
could have
it.
more beds than you.
Yeah, I mean, I have a great spot for it. I just need to get one.
Does he like to sit on top of the computer?
He used to, but it's not close enough to me now, so it's too far away.
Okay. Because I feel like they like that because you get that exhaust heat from the cooling.
Oh yeah. It also causes it to heat up because it can't intake air either.
Cat's
Positive feedback loop, making a space heater on my desktop. There's actually 2 to choose from too.
Oh yeah, that is true.
So Robert Malechka on pit lane. 34 laps in the stint, a lap less than last time. That's partially due to the lack of draft that he had in this run. And it's 9.5 in the box and off and away. And cycling to second is going to be Hamilton Akabueze. And now Jason Brophy. Here comes Malechka.
Ooh, and that's going to be tight there. Brophy had to go through the middle, essentially. Pretty wide for a split second. Akabueze going to come back to the inside of him. Malechka gets up to speed.
Just really impressed with the 91 and how he's been able to leapfrog everybody so effectively and efficiently on pit lane. P4 now.
A really solid job working the field, and he's continuing the strategy of continuing onwards, and he's going to put him essentially more at a tire advantage, I would think, in the long term, but we'll see how it plays out. He's got Andreas Ike coming back on him from 5th. I know Ike's been a little bit quiet. He's been happy running in this group. And now the main thing is now, so we got Akabueze and Brophy, which is a really strong duo up leading this group. I think we're going to start to see them, and actually we can see it on the timesheets. They're starting to catch back up to Jacob Oster.
Yeah, Oster ran a 42.3 last time by. That was half a second slower, so it's not going to be very long if that is the differentiation. And so does Oster have to start modifying his strategy to cover this? Because if you're looking at Brophy, Akabueze, and Malechka, you've watched their steady progress forward. You see it on the relative screen. When do you start driving sort of defensively as far as strategy is concerned?
That's a great question. I honestly don't know. I would say, really when they start to get closer, because there's nothing you can really do now. You can't just like flip a switch and drive faster. You're running your highest fuel lap, you're pushing hard. So there's nothing really to do up until they get there. I'd say around a second typically when you start to catch the draft, second 1.2 seconds when you start to catch the slipstream in these cars. So that's when you can maybe start to think of going a little bit more defensive in his lines.
Working lap
continue.
73. And Oster 3.1 seconds out in front. Here comes Akabueze back by Brophy, and that was another 2/10 gain on the race leader. So just chipping away at it. You see him way up the road there. He is just all by his lonesome for now.
Yeah, effectively he's sitting duck at the moment. And Brophy and Akabueze continue to track him down. Malechka actually kind of losing a little bit of touch with Brophy and Akabueze. And Andreas Ike's catching up, and the driver I was just about to talk about is Jesper Orman, who's not gone back forward. He's kind of stopped the bleeding. He wasn't really that long in the pit, so I'm guessing, you know, maybe it wasn't that bad on the damage, or not enough to warrant sitting a couple extra seconds to fix at least some of it. But that car is still not exactly the powerhouse it was at the beginning of the race. But maintaining himself in 6th, but he's still running these really high lines that I don't think are helping him, but at the same time, I don't know if those are essentially the only lines he can run left.
Yeah, he got really tight again, had to have a big lift there. I just wonder if it was suspension damage that you can't sort of half fix. It's either you replace a part or you don't, right? It's all carbon spindles and things up there, so it's either you commit to spending 25 seconds doing that, or you don't do it at all. And maybe it's worth, with how it is affecting him, but not that much. So maybe it's just suffer through it.
The only thing you can do is hope for a caution. The only time you can come down and really get extensive repairs without losing a lot of time. But at the moment, riding quietly in 6th. Yeah, it looks like Andrew Marquez actually is catching up to him.
Marquez is a name we haven't really talked a lot about tonight. 15th up to 7th. A driver that seems to be steadily moving forward. And those that have moved backwards, Mark Murphy put in that category. Tony Shalling put in that category. But, Jesper Orman. But Marquez, Akabueze, Malechka, Brophy, all moving up.
Yeah, also moving up. Well, he's trying to do so. Murphy still got he's fallen off quite a bit in time department. There's actually a really big gap from Craig Forsythe to David Adams, about 8 seconds, and then another 4 seconds back to Mark Murphy.
Murphy clears Akabueze for a second. That was a pretty big clear. And they're now just 2 seconds shy of Jacob Oster, who's now effectively about halfway through this next fuel run. Look at the run that you generate. These cars suck up so well. And there's no reason to sit on it. You might as well take it and pick up the pass.
Well, again, for their strategy, this is working out great. You build that run, make a huge move into the turn, then you build up another run in behind on the next straightaway, and then off you go into turn 2. So this is working out really great. They've been working it very well, making up that time on Oster. And of course, we always say catching is one thing, passing is another. And for Oster, the big thing you got to think about, again, with the way the tires work for the IndyCar Series, is that while the tires wear, you don't really get slower by yourself. When you start to feel the tire wear is when you're in a pack and having to fight with some air wash and dirty air, and you're really depending on the mechanical grip. That's where you feel that loss. Oster, he's been sitting out here by himself this entire time. These guys have been kind of pushing the tires a little bit harder, so that's going to probably help out the 16. Of course, though, he has lost every advantage he had with time. He built up this first 70-some-odd laps. And
what Malechka's used his advantage with the tires is, the older they are, they don't necessarily slow down that much. They feel worse, but they don't really lose a lot of speed. So with that, you can pit later and really only gain benefit of comfort and not really end up losing time like you would on a high fall-off tire like you see in the stock car side.
And notably, Malechka is also maintaining a gap. I want to say that's on purpose. The further you run in behind, less you're pushing on those tires, less tire wear. So when you need to really lean on them, you have a little bit more to work with.
Yeah, I think for sure, right? You don't need to follow so close. It's like you're on the interstate and you're following a truck. You can't see anything. Back up a little bit. Just get the whole picture.
Here comes Brophy, going to come in like a truck on the interstate, catching up to the back of Oster. He's caught up. Battle for the lead is back on for the first time in about 30 laps. Oster's had some peace and quiet himself. Got to put the book down and get the helmet on. And you see him already swerving down the front straightaway, breaking the slipstream.
Yeah, I don't know how much it's going to help. Brophy's going to get there and power to the lead. And just like that, power slides number 88. Jason Brophy goes to the top spot. He's already led a couple laps this race, but that was by virtue of staying out on the pit cycle. And we are just about to tick over to the end of lap 80. Here comes Oster back to the inside into the tunnel turn, and is going to try to deny Brophy his first natural lap lead.
He's going to fight this as much as he can. Again, like I said, he's been sitting in that car for this entire stint, not really fighting anyone. So he's got a lot of race car left in that machine. Brophy trying to see if he can build up another run. You've also got to consider Akabueze. I don't think he's going to be sitting necessarily too quiet in that number 7 machine. Finally having a taste of the lead.
Yeah, that's 7. Again, we're all converging again. The top 5 are right on top of each other. Brophy to the lead. Oster's going to have a nice big run on the back straightaway, though. I don't think this Team i5G driver is going to give up just yet. i5G versus Power Slide. This is the age-old championship rivalry that we've seen in the Indy Elite Series over the years. And tonight, in our 400-mile event here at Pocono, it's back on at the front.
Always a fantastic fight to see. See who comes out the victor. Of course, still got a lot of racing left as he just ticked over halfway. Brophy leading over Oster, Acablaze. Robert Malechka is caught back up to the rear wing of Acablaze, and Andreas Eicher, top 5, all within a second of each other.
Yeah, now, I think Acablaze will probably make pretty short work of Oster. And Malechka still watching and just being very patient, under-driving the tires. Is that graining feature? That's real, right? Is there any news with the tires? Is there anything I can take away from look at the surface of these tires?
Yeah, that is a thing. It's kind of hard to see it at speed, especially with these things where they're not wearing out a huge amount, so you're not really going to notice it on the the minute differences. I think it's only when the tire gets really worn out, and so you can start seeing something.
14 laps in for Brophy's run. Oster's been out for 20. He's got about 10 laps until another pit stop. Brophy will see in around lap 100.
It's kind of interesting to see the difference in tire life. Brophy 14 laps on his stint, Oster 20. And I think we're going to get more, bigger as we get more and more pit stops, approaching the third pit stop, third set of pit stops in the next 20 some odd laps.
2 primary groups at the moment, 1st to 5th and 6th to 9th.
Orman the cork in the bottle for that next group, and then got Marquez, Altona, and Forsyth in that pack as well.
A 4-car pack from 11th on back, and David Adams running a very lonely 10th place.
Yeah, this is the frustrating thing. He's in the middle of no man's land. Of course, he was offset. We saw him have that contact with the wall, came in, so he's off sequence. Not necessarily helping him at the moment, being in the middle of no man's land like that. You know, old 18 drivers that started the race still out there on the racetrack, only 2 a lap down, Lovell and Chowan.
Yeah, that's so frustrating for them because they're likely not going to get much of an opportunity to make it up. And for Chowan, it was that pit road spin that gave him the penalty. And not much you can undo about it now. You're just sort of stuck in it, and you've got another 52 minutes or so. You've just got to ride around. It's painful, especially after being so competitive early in this race.
You always think as a driver what could have been. Looking at this second group, Craig Forsyth squeezes past Julian Altona pushing him back to 9th. Really surprised with the 11 we haven't seen that aggression. I know we talked about him being a little bit more calm after that first stint. Oh, as I say that, look to the outside of the door slammed shut by Forsyth.
That was a little dicey.
That's the back out of it. Just throwing Chowan in behind when he's a lap down, so not really going to be fighting with this group of drivers. But I'm a bit surprised he hasn't pushed the envelope at number 11 to try to catch back up, because the leaders are not that far ahead, but just hasn't seemed to have the same speed we saw in that first run.
David Adams on pit lane. Remember, he's got himself a little off sequence, so he owes us a pit stop. And so I would say 30 laps from now puts him at 115. So he's going to have one more stop after this, I'd imagine.
Yeah. The issue is that with him, he's not able to save that fuel. He came in 29 laps into the stint because he's been running by himself the whole time.
So Brophy's led some laps. Oster has actually held on to second pretty nicely, which I wasn't so sure how he was going to do. But remember, he drove up to the lead, Oster did, so he's got a fast ride even in traffic. So despite the tire difference, the car's a little lighter too, a little more fuel load burn, so maybe that's helping him stick around for a little while longer. I thought he dropped like a stone after getting passed by the 88. He is not.
Yeah, and I mean, I really like this top 5 we have here. A really solid group of drivers. Brophy, Oster, Acablaze, Malechka, the fastest drivers this race. Outside of maybe Tony Chowan, throwing him in that mix. Then Andreas Hike, of course, sitting quietly in 5th. And he's definitely not showing the true pace of that 76 car. He's just kind of riding this out until he really needs to start pushing. But a really solid top 5, all right together, all within a couple tenths. As we approach the second, and we really essentially 2 more pit stops coming up here around lap 100 and then around lap 30. And it's going to be off for the races then.
There's been a lot of patience being played with this front group, a lot of experience.
Oh, and sorry, I was just thinking ahead. I think also Malechka's play. I was just trying to think of where he's going to go, because we've seen him really stay out on the tires as long as he can. With him pushing the distance, it's less fuel for him to take up.
Oh yeah, I mean there's a lot of benefits to his strategy, and it goes back to the first run. Remember how little progress he made in the first run? We were kind of concerned that he didn't have speed. He should not have been, because he was setting himself up. I mean, that was 89 laps ago that we were talking about that, and
yep.
He just is so well set up for the rest of this race.
Still sitting in quietly, hasn't made a whole lot of noise. He's been keeping with the lead group, and really again that's dropped down with speedway racing and an Indy car. Just staying with the leading group, managing your tires, managing your fuel. And if things work out as needed, he's looking pretty good. Mike Kitchell is down on pit road with a black flag. I think he's down for speeding.
Yeah, he was coming in for a scheduled stop.
Oh yeah, he came in hot. Came in at 70 across the line. Off he goes.
He'll add himself to the list of those that will be a lap down. He's actually 2 down now, as of current. Lap 90 of 160, so 70 laps to go next time by. Any favorites out of this group? I don't know that we've really seen the 91 get to the end of it. He's still at like 60% success on his strategy, and I think the rest is yet to come. Brophy looks fast. Osser's fast, of course. Akabuweze is right in the pocket for where he wants to be. Is there anybody here that's demonstrated more than the rest?
I want to say Oscar, because you've seen him be able to work to the front, also maintain being in the front, and he's still doing that. He got passed by Brophy, he hasn't been passed by anyone else. So I think he's arguably maybe the strongest car in this group. That being said, again, we haven't seen everyone really push. I think some of these guys like Malechka, Ike, they haven't really pushed at all. Malechka's only really pushed when he needed to make sure he didn't lose the leaders. But other than that, he's been quietly sitting in line. So it's really one of the things where, I think come that last pit stop, that's really going to be it. That's when these guys are going to finally push and switch from the flip.
That 76 quietly lurking, as he does. And like in his the runs that he's had this year, it was 18th back at Gateway, but it was top 10s at Texas and Milwaukee. 7th at Texas and 5th at the Milwaukee Mile. So when push comes to shove, this guy will get the job done.
Just before when he lost position to Andrew Marquez, so he's back to 7th place. Craig Forsythe in behind him. Julian Alton has actually lost this group. He's back by himself, 2 seconds off the leaders.
Love the sounds of these things tacked up. My first experience with IndyCar as a spectator was actually a private testing session at Watkins Glen in 2016. Right before they had come to the racetrack in April, they were testing, and went up there with Joel, and we sat out. They would let you. They opened up one of the grandstands at the bottom of the S's, and watching those things rip around, the sound that they made, wow, it was amazing. And of course, the 500 is a totally insane experience.
That's definitely on my bucket list with the Indy 500.
Which come this year. Fly to Chicago.
Honestly?
Fly to Chicago and then drive down.
How long is the drive from Chicago?
3 hours. I do it all in a day.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
Drive down there in the morning, drive back in the evening. I did it last year.
Oh.
Caution. And Mark Murphy in the wall hard out of turn one. And that completely turns up a lot of these strategies on their heads.
It really does. And Man, bro, from a bad day gone worse for Mark Murphy. He was already hanging out. I mean, we saw him running up first, second place again, started in second place, and was running back in 12th, and then this happened right here, just running way too far out of the line.
Oh, Joe Branch just missed that. Oh, big hit there on the inside.
I'm looking up ahead. I think he's getting dirty air off of Musselman.
Also, I think the other thing to consider, you know, at this stage of the race is there also some dirty racetrack up there. Yeah, there's marbles.
Not from what I can.
There are some up there, I think. Can't get a
couple.
Can't get it to pause where I want it to. Well, maybe not. Yeah, but he in the wall and bounced off it and sails down the racetrack right into the inside wall. That's
he really takes off the close to Joe Branch.
Okay, here's on board the gearbox of the Branch car. Oh. Try that one more time. That'll wake you up.
Jump scare.
So, first and only caution so far. And as we ride behind the 2025 make model pace car, what's the strategy now? Everybody to pit lane. Now, we are 65 laps to the end of this race. Everybody going to make it one more stop after this?
Yeah, everyone should be able to make it one more stop. Because we saw these guys in traffic able to go up about 31, 32 laps. You can probably go 32, 33. We're going to have another lap or two of pacing before these guys go back green as well. So they should be able to make it easily. If not, they could adjust the fuel load and kind of ride around for a little bit to save. But should be easily able to make it in on one more stop. And we'll see if it gets changed up here while sitting in the pits. Oster sitting in the pits for a while here. As Profi, Akwaeze, Ike, Orman, Forsythe come out your top 5.
They're still
fixing
in the box.
Damage, or what is going on with him?
No black flag from what we can tell. Is he in the car?
He is in the car.
Maybe replacing, maybe he got in the fence and is taking the time to replace one of those suspension pieces. And 40 seconds in the box, off and away.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Oh.
What's that?
I heard him come on the radio because the driver's all swearing. Like, what happened here? Apparently, the driver's overheating because he wore a sweater with his heater on, so he's taking off the sweater.
I can sympathize with that. 2 desktops in a 7x10 room. That'll happen. Oh, wear you out?
Yeah. Does it noticeably get warmer in your room?
Oh, if I close the door, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it I don't need to run heat in the winter when it's terrible.
It's fire.
It actually would probably be cheaper to heat my entire apartment that way than it would be to do what I'm doing. $165 a month gas bill last month. What the heck? So that sucks. I'll start turning off the heat at night.
Just turn the heat off and just wear a bunch of blankets.
Desperate times. I just feel bad because the cat can't wear a blanket, you know?
Yeah.
Cats like it warm, but 1 degree.
Notably, a couple drivers coming in. Julian Altina, Maleshka coming in to top off, as well as Brophy coming in as well. So a couple drivers feeling maybe they can't make it to the end without having to top off. I guess if anything, it gives them more opportunity to push harder.
It's a long racetrack. 1 lap here, 2.5 miles. You know, even under pacing, you're going to burn up a pretty good amount of fuel. So I don't hate it. I mean, how much does track position matter? There's still a lot of time left in this race. I don't think that they're worried about having time to get to the front. I worry about now the aggression level's kicked up. You got a new lease on life. Your aggression level is going to be way, way more than it was at the start of the race. And now you're behind all of that. So you have to get ready to dodge and weave if there's any other issues that come your way.
Interestingly enough, Orman did not stay extra time in his pit stall. He's back in 3rd. So that tells me he didn't really have any extra damage to fix. Because, right, this would have been the perfect opportunity to fix their car and get it in race-winning condition.
I wonder if maybe it wasn't damage that caused him to slow down, but maybe just a little bit more caution. You know what I mean? Like, once you hit the fence, just say, hey, I'm going to back it down just the tiniest of bit subconsciously. Just to keep it out of the fence.
Now let's see if he's going to kick him back up in high gear, because this is the best chance for him to get back at the lead.
Yeah, I just think the aggression is going to go way up. I mean, effectively, we've turned this now into a 60-lap sprint race.
You also got to consider, too, you got a lot of quick drivers who just came into the pits, and they're near the back. Of course, Oster with his situation, then Brophy, Malechka, Julian Alton, all back there. And interestingly enough, Tony Schowen, he made up. He's back in the lead lap. Unfortunately, he's going to have to pit immediately once this goes green. You can see him going down low.
Well, I don't hate this because, again, it's very likely we'll get another yellow at this point with this little reset. So the pace car is going to peel off. We've got just over 60 laps to go. 63 laps remain. And we're back underway here at Pocono. The Black Magic Studios 400 in the Catalyst 317 Triple Crown, and Akbueze fires off.
Off and away he goes. Now let's see what everyone else has got in behind. Pushing Andreas Ike. Is this his chance to shine, or is he still going to wait on pushing hard? And of course the drivers in the back trying to make up moves. Here comes Oster immediately making moves at the outside of Joe Branch and the inside of Tim Holgate.
Yeah, making moves as quickly as he can. Kind of shuffles over Holgate on the entry to the tunnel turn. Holgate's out of line and almost in the fence.
That's the big thing you got to consider too, pushing this hard. If someone else makes crashes and you get caught up in that incident, your race is over. Big risk here.
At Kitchell in that 0-4. He's 2 laps down, but has some lead lap cars. Julian Altena, David Adams stuck behind him. Back straight away again.
Single file at the moment. Everyone's still trying to get up to speed, feel everything. You know, this is the first time they've been in such tight formation since the opening lap. So maybe some readjustments to the car have to be made, and just do their driving as well.
Oh, I think Holgate might have just struck the wall the tiniest bit out of turn 3. Here comes Oster, and he is not wasting any time. And he's got an opportunity here because the other drivers that he's really battling, Malechka and Brophy and a few others, are behind him on the racetrack right now. He's got Akbueze and Ike and Orman and those guys, but Oster was outperforming them.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, Brophy and Malechka not really moving with a lot of agency, I should say, at least comparison to Oster, who's really getting on it and trying to get through this traffic as quickly as he can.
But I don't know that I'm worried about that. I mean, they pace themselves really nicely the first half of the race. I think they can do it. There's still a lot of racing left to go, 60 laps worth here. So I'm not concerned about the pace, and they're going to probably end up doing the same thing that they did the first run. Just run a little longer, a little slower, and save up. Oh, crash in the background. Oh, Pedro Blebel. We might not get a yellow.
Yeah, no yellow from no one else being around it.
And he's gone. 3 cars, night complete. The Roar Esports Blebel machine. Let's see. Looked like he was all on his own. Did he just get the apron here and wash up?
Oh, you'll see it right here on the front straightaway.
Oh, yep. Classic hardware failure. And we tend to see that a lot in the IndyCar stuff because of the high force feedback. Like you tend to kind of rip wheels apart internally, or rip things off rigs. Look how tight it is at the front. This makes me nervous for the aero wash side of things.
All it takes is one mistake and a couple drivers could be taken out, but here comes Jacob Oster. A head full of steam. Got on for Forsythe, looking at Orman now. He's been running very nicely in third, tucked in behind. His car is looking a lot better than it was previously. And again, I'm not sure if, like you said, if he was just running a little bit more conservatively or what, but this is looking similar to what he was running before. It seems running offline, trying to put Oscar up and out of the way. I think they're both going to get a great run here on Andreas Ike.
Yeah, but sitting on it, no need to take it all the way to the front. You're saving fuel. You've got the leaders all on your sight here. If it comes easily, you grab it. Look at the neutral steer. He's loose on the bottom of the racetrack.
Oh, I think he hit the apron and that shot him up the track. Forsythe was thinking of looking around him.
It was a nerve-wracking moment. Just saw the steering wheel go dead straight.
Yeah, taking a look at the replay, he hit the apron just a little bit, enough to upset the car, and that caused him to go up the hill.
Only one driver out. That's Mark Murphy. Pedro Blebel's back on the racetrack, reconnected. 3 laps down.
Jason Brophy making a move on AJ Musselman, and Musselman also back in this fight as well. And Marquez making a move to the inside of Forsythe.
We haven't really talked a lot about Musselman tonight. But he's been running up in the top 10 for a little while now. Big lift center of the corner there to stay rotated with Brophy underneath them.
Brophy's trying to move up a little bit, position at a time, and like you mentioned, I guess it seems that both him and Malechka a bit unfazed. They know what they need to do to get it done. They do still have one more pit stop before it effectively becomes a sprint to the end.
Really tight up here at the front. We're about probably 20 laps, 22 laps from that window really opening effectively. Oster way up the hill. I don't like riding that high in the groove. Marquez is up there as well. And also because the corner ends so abruptly. When you are on that high side, at the very end, when the banking falls away, you tend to kind of see the car shoot to the left a little. And if you have anyone underneath you, you see a lot of collisions right at the exits of the corners from the converging point there.
Brophy looking back to the inside of Forsyth. And we'll clear him off of turn 3. So Brophy back in behind Oscar. And looks like he had a much easier time getting through positions, while Oscar was muscling his way up through him.
Brophy back to the bottom.
The order remains steady for now.
That's what I'm talking about, though. Did you see that coming off the corner there? Watch on board Brophy. Just watch Oster as he goes up the high side. Just watch how violently left the I-5G car goes. Right there. It just swings across the front of Brophy, or I suppose Brophy swings across the back of Oster. But either way, that's what makes that multi-groove exit so challenging here in an Indy car.
Fairly quiet up here in the front, and it's wondering if this is really the calm before the storm.
Yes. I mean, look, they're offset like fighter jets. Like they're like you're watching the the Canadian geese fly south for the winter. They're offset on their wingtips, basically, just trying to keep air on the nose. Also looks like a bag of Skittles up here. Pink, orange, yellow, a couple green. One's lime, one's
I love the lime.
The bad apple,
I don't...
Granny
What?
Apple Smith, whatever the, you know what I mean?
Sure. Have you had
Green
Skittles
apple.
in a while? I think I haven't had Skittles in a while.
It's lime now, which is good. Lime's better.
Used to be green apple?
I think so.
Oh.
People protested about that, probably.
Yeah, I can see that.
Back when that was when people were protesting. Anyway, turn 1.
Another guy we may have to talk about here in this battle, essentially, is Craig Forsyth. He's been fairly quiet this entire race, but mostly because he kind of fell off from the leaders. He's in the kind of middle of the pack, hanging out, having a decent run. Now's a chance of the lead. I wonder if this 99 car maybe has something we haven't really seen. Now he's got a second lease on life, at least for fighting for this win. And he's maintained with leaders here, and Brophy gets extremely tight out of turn 3, takes advantage, and immediately goes to the inside.
You know what's fascinating about IndyCar racing, at least here in iRacing, is you can see a big moment before it happens, just because there's so much momentum and so much speed that if you see a slight correction, you know that in a couple of seconds that car's going to have to lift big. And you just see it, and there's nothing the driver can do about it. They can lift earlier, they're just going to crash sooner. It's just fascinating to watch.
That is always the thing, especially when you know there's nothing you can do and you got to hit the wall, and you got the couple seconds of dread knowing you're going to hit the wall, and there is next to nothing you can do about it.
You can't just turn harder, you know? Nope. And if you shift the weight forward mid-corner, you loop it around. You can't stomp on the brakes.
Ooh, Tim Holgate catching very close to the back end of Adrian Musselman. Didn't go anywhere with him.
On board with the Holgate car. And let's just go through the field from back to front and show you those wicker settings here. So you mentioned this is level. We're going to go from 17th up to 1st. Every driver seems to have these wicker settings exactly the same.
Yeah.
So definitely they've found the optimal balance. Oh, is this one different? No.
Nope. All the same. The only difference is Pedro Bubble has, I think, the only driver running rear wicker. Everyone else is running without it.
Tight quarters for David Adams out of turn 3. That was a little dicey. 50 laps to go this time through. And here comes Orman to the inside of Ike. There's mixing things up a little bit here at the front now.
starting to make a move, and Orman back to the lead for the first time in what feels like forever. But back up to the lead of this race. And I think that might be planned because Akabueze, he doesn't want to be out there too long. Because remember, these guys are a little bit short on fuel. And Akabueze has been leading essentially this entire time. So I'm sure he's kind of glad that Orman's gone around. And then he can take a little bit of a break and try to save some fuel to be on strategy with everyone else. Oster to the outside of Ike. Trying to get the slipstream.
He likes this upper groove in turn 1. This track has 6 turns, all right?
by the normal oval counting convention standard, yes. Because they count turns weird in oval racing.
Well, I think the reason for it was the car would do wildly different things on entry and exit, so they would consider the entry a corner and the exit a corner. So they could talk about it when they're talking about setups.
I mean, it makes sense. It's still wrong, though.
Yeah. Also, circles don't have turns. Or it's just one continuous turn.
Well, it is an oval.
I know, but
which I guess also technically that's still a continuous turn. If you're always turning, you have to roll turn.
I mean, and yeah, turn right to go left. Good job. Jesper Orman leads the way. He's led some laps tonight, 22 to be exact. So let's run through the, actually I can show this on the left-hand side of the screen here. Laps led for drivers in the field tonight, 22 for Orman. Akabueze, 16. Oster, 41. Ike's led a singular lap. Brophy, 16. Malechka, 2. And you see Mark Murphy out of the race. 3 laps led for him.
You can see this total increase by a decent amount here, at least at the end of this run. To be fairly sure that Akabueze isn't going to make any moves. Now will Oster make a move on the 7, though? It seems like everyone's content with where they're running in the line. Again, because everyone really needs to save fuel, I think is part of the reason why we're seeing it be a lot quieter than what we would expect. Once you get that last pit stop out of the way, it's going to be game on.
Yeah, we'll see the aggression level pick up even more. Less lifting when you're side by side and have to concede. What about Malechka here? What his strategy is now? He's trying to make his way by Holgate and Musselman. He's watching that front group start to get away a little bit.
Yeah, that's usually when he starts to push. Once he notices the leader's starting to get away, I think that's when he kind of is like, okay, I need to start pushing to make sure I don't lose them. I see Marquez and Forsyth battle a little bit for a second up ahead.
This is the offsets are getting a little wilder here. 45 laps to go. And things are clicking down a little faster than they were.
Everyone's looking for that clean air to work with. Rear cycle a little bit tight on the inside turn 1, moves out a lot on the exit speed, loses the position to Oster, and Brophy does not make a move.
For the lead, it's getting dicey now. Akabueze, Orman, Ike to the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, Ike, interestingly enough, is making some moves here. A bit earlier than I would have thought he would make a move. Hearing on the radio, David Adams is going to come on down. He's still off sequence.
Yeah, he'll need to pit again, too. Can't go 43 laps on a tank of fuel. I know that. Yeah.
We put in fuel map 5 and hope for the best. And for those who don't know the fuel maps, map 5 is the highest fuel savings that you can go in your cars.
I would just.
Once Scott comes out, he's going to pit again.
I just come down, take tires and fuel and just hope for a yellow. And hope that it's long enough from now that you can make it on that last stop. Robert
before the
Malechka's
storm.
Yeah, Malechka's cleared Musselman and Holgate. Last time by, he ran faster than the race leader. So that 91 is just, he is a grenade waiting to have the pin pulled, I think. He is ready to go.
He's doing it in a more extreme version of what we usually see Ike do. As I say that, here comes Ike charging up 1, 2, 3, gets them all done.
It's something about these boys. They know what to do, when to do it.
That was a great move. Fast 3 cars on one straightaway.
For how long, though?
1 turn.
Yep.
Still +2 as he cycles back to second place.
I really want Chinese food. I was just in Chinatown today. I had like Chinese for lunch, but it was like super real Chinese, and I really want like
fake American Chinese.
Yeah. It's so expensive. Just while we're waiting, there we go. Andre's like for the lead. It's so expensive to order now.
Yeah.
Like lunch, 2 people today at lunch was $30, which is easy. But then you order it, and it's like $18 for orange chicken. I mean, what are you breeding the chickens first and feeding them gold? Like, what's going on?
I mean, chickens are in low supply at the moment.
Well, it's not my fault. Well, I guess -1 after I get to it. But anyway, coming up on 40 laps to go. I'm just really excited about the last 40 laps this year. I can order my Chinese. And I'm going to overpay for it, and I'm not going to not care because paycheck. Anyway, here comes the 76.
Bills to pay.
Yeah, bills to pay. Here comes that 76. Mike takes the lead back from Orman, Akabueze, Oster, Brophy. Still your top 5, and really the entire field still sort of in one group back to Tony Schauen.
And because everyone's kind of riding around, not necessarily in fuel-saving mode, but they're just taking off the laps and making sure they can make it. The last thing you want is to have to come in on the sit with 2 laps to go or on the final lap and have to get a short splash of fuel. Because everyone wants to make sure they can push full throttle until the end, because you don't really want to save at this point in the running. Although, as they say that, they're starting to push now a little bit more here as Andre Syke makes another move on Orman. He's content. He's really trying to fight for this lead and keep it.
Akabueze is watching all this from 3rd place. Just waiting for opportunity here. Again, we're about 8 laps away from really the window, actually less than that, really 5 laps away from the window being open, maybe 6. Look at the run into the tunnel turn, and Orman goes to the lead. Akabueze is going to try to set up an exit to get by Ike, but he'll sit on it.
They're really starting to. I thought they'd get a little bit more racy after the pit stops, but it seems like they're getting racy before the pit stops. Ike's trying to make a move. He goes back to the inside of Orman. They continue to swamp Akabueze, Oster, Brophy catching back up. And even Brophy, for that matter, we've seen him get very quiet in that 88 car.
Yeah, some lap traffic to contend with. That is the 0-0 of David Adams. I don't think he'll put up a big fight, but he still is on the lead lap, and he has every right to run his line, and this might break things up a little bit here. It's a big, wide racetrack, but it's narrow in the corners.
Especially on the exit. You're talking about that with turn 1 earlier. Everyone converges right up against that wall on the exit. And I think we're definitely going to see that come this final run to the end. We get very tight on the exits with these drivers.
And that's when you start to see the accidents happen. It's 2 people trying to occupy the same place at the same time. It does not work. And I didn't do so hot in physics, but 2 objects occupying the exact same space typically involves some kind of penetration. So, phrasing probably.
a little bit.
Battle for the lead is back on, and again, Akabueze has been watching this battle in the tunnel turn. It's so easy to get offline here at the apron there. The transition isn't so harsh, but you slip up big time.
That's the thing, too. We still talking about. We haven't seen a whole lot of mistakes from these drivers because they've not been necessarily going 100% the entire time. But as the lap 6 off, as they push harder, and even their setups too. Remember, we haven't really talked about all the in-car adjustments these drivers can make. With the weight jacker, with the front and rear anti-roll bars. That's when you're going to push for the car to handle a little bit better, especially in traffic. We'll see some drivers potentially step over that line. We can argue that might be what caught Orman out earlier when he was got that damage with the turn 1 wall. But he seems to be ready to push again once more. And Ike is looking really racy in particular.
The 76 is turning it up at the right time. Maybe a little early though. Never know, but he's got the lead now and is adding to his total. He only had 1 lap led earlier. He's upped it to now 5 as he crosses the stripe.
I mean, there's definitely an argument to be made for, you don't want to wait till the last second and really test the waters fighting for the lead, right? If you're up there now, you can kind of feel how the car feels out in clean air, because he hasn't really been in a whole lot of clean air that's on this trip. He's mostly been in traffic in the race, so getting a chance to feel the car, how it can feel in clean air, how much you can push that to secure that lead, testing the waters for potentially 30 laps in the future.
I think what worries me is the 88 and the 91, the Brophy and Malechka. I know that they are faster than where they're running, so when are they going to light the afterburners and head up to the front?
Definitely after these next round of pit stops as we cross lap 126 onto 127. And they're going to have to go an extra lap or 2 here to make sure they can make it to the end here. And again, with the way they've been running, I'm sure they're going to be able to extend that a lot more. I mean, you look at Robert Malechka, you can say he's the king of fuel saving, being able to go 35 laps on a run.
Watch Orman here, turn 1. Look how high he is running that number 4 car, right up against the outside wall.
It's making me nervous again, because that's kind of what caught him out the first time. I think he just caught dirty air at the wrong time in behind Oscar and then just pushed that car up there. But he's really taking the Larson line around there.
Yeah. So easy to make the mistake, and when you make a mistake up on the high group, you don't have any time to catch it.
No. Especially the turn 1 wall at Pocono in particular. I'd say that's particularly one of the worst tracks to run that outside lane, because you get, like you mentioned, just that dirty air, car slips up, some mistake, and you're in that wall.
But he's also, notably running a little quicker down the straight. He's 2 or 3 miles an hour faster than everyone else because of that big momentum gain he gets running down the hill on the banking. By the way, this is exactly the halfway point from the restart to the end of the race. Who hits pit lane this time, if anybody?
No one. They're all trying to save. All trying to save fuel, and they're all doing a great job at it. The more they save now, the harder they can run at the end. I'd say at this point going onwards, it'll be a decent time to come in. Rayshot Craig on the first to bite.
All the way on the other side of the racetrack. The tight pack that we had is split into a couple of groups of 2. Andreas Eich leads the way. The car that he's tucked with is David Adams in the 00, and it might slow him down a little. Give him a tow on the straights and some aero wash in the corners. Is that
looks like Orman's coming in.
Yeah.
Not surprising there. He let a couple laps in. Marquez getting close to the wall as Orman locks it up.
Musselman black for sure. That was really fast for Musselman.
Don't see it. Don't see a black flag.
Wow. It's a nice livery on this 54 also.
Yeah. Yeah, he overslowed a little bit to make sure he didn't get caught up by the timing line, so I think that saved him. Oh, Tony Schowen in the pits with a meatball. And,
oh, yeah, big damage on that car.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, this was just now.
It looks like he turned left. I wonder if he had a hardware issue or an internet issue, because you'll see him here running fine. Turns left a little bit.
Yeah,
screen disconnects. Yeah. Or his internet disconnects and then in the wall.
Something for sure broke on that car, and that's unfortunately the end of the night for Tony Schowen. And it'll be only the second car out. It'll be a 17th place result at the best. And,
I had a feeling I was going to jinx him earlier.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just, it all went downhill after that penalty, right? He was running really well until then.
Pit stop cycling through Andreas Eich, Aquaise, Forsythe, all down on pit lane, and off and away they go. Still waiting on Brophy and Austria to continue another lap.
And they're going to head right back out of the racetrack, right ahead of lead lap cars. This is going to bottle things up here a little bit.
Brophy's going to catch some lap traffic, which may or may not help him, depending. He might just be able to benefit from getting a little bit of a tow and not so much of the dirty air, but might be in his best interest to pit next time by. Look in turn 3, he does not come in. Interesting. Austria will pit, Malechka out, Marquez in.
Yeah, so now, with it's like a lot more traditional strategies now. We're not, with the race almost ending, there's not as much leeway when you should be pitting.
For what will be the lead, Ike and Akabueze are going at it with Jesper Orman in the mix as well. And this is big, especially for Akabueze and Orman, because remember, this is for the fight for the championship. We've seen Akabueze make some fantastic inroads to catch back up to the leaders in the championship. If he can win here, this is a massive amount of points to his total, especially fighting against Orman, just keeping him out from getting it. Same thing with Oscar, and Oscar, speaking of which, coming out of pit lane now.
And so Oster leaves the box ahead of everybody else, but he is carrying a lot less speed. Can he get it up to speed in time?
He's going to have a massive run here.
Yeah, he's going to lose a few spots.
And Malechka.
Oh boy, he's going to get split 3 wide on the back straightaway here at Pocono. Fresh out of the pits, Oster drops to third. The battle for what will be the lead is on.
Oh, Ike cutting ahead, cutting across Oscar. That was an aggressive move here. The 76, he's starting to dial it up now. He knows race is on. Brophy and Malechka in the pits. They should be coming out in just about a second. And that's effectively going to cycle everything out. Race is on. It's a sprint from here on out. Here we go. 3 wide again into turn 1 with drivers leaving the pits.
Black Magic Studio 400 is in its last 25 laps. And big runs from Akabueze on the outside, on the back straightaway, catching Malechka. Does he defend or does he just get barreled by? They're going to sit in line behind the 91.
Yeah, Oster actually went way too conservatively in turn 1, went high, and that killed his momentum. So actually helped out Malechka not being completely overhauled. Now this 91, he's free to unleash the tap, so I still don't think you see what he can truly perform. And Brophy actually has a decent lead for himself.
Yeah, 0.3 of a second shy of everyone else in the top 5 as far as the pit box. So quick service for the 88, and that got him a 0.6 of a second lead.
I think that was strategic with him staying out, less fuel having to go in that car, and bought him a little bit of time and a little bit of a lead.
Right time to have it. Now it's going to calm back down for a few laps while everyone sort of sorts things out. But it's just amazing to me that Brophy and Malechka, they just started at the tail of the field. They just quietly worked their way to the front, methodically. They weren't making crazy moves at all or doing anything dicey. They just worked their way to the front, not once, but twice.
The question is going to be, can they maintain it? Here comes Jacob Oster, big run on the front straightaway. We'll look to the left-hand side into turn 1, and not much Oster can do. Sorry, not much Brophy can do.
Led 43 laps tonight. He'd like to lead some more. Left-hand side of your screen, you can see he's led the most. And it's always tough to go home after a race after leading the most laps and not win it. But Brophy has time to lead more than that.
Interestingly enough, Malechka looks like he's hanging out a little bit, not completely trying to get up to the rear wing of Oster and Brophy. Akabueze hanging out in behind him, then Ike and Orman a little bit extra of a gap.
Now as
Malechka,
Malechka,
say that here Malechka's catching back up now.
Yeah, I think just watching and waiting, letting these guys burn the tires up a little. Still got a long way to go, 20 plus laps, so I don't really see any purpose in swapping spots right now, and I think Malechka knows that.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing, because if you got, even though it's the final stint, it's a long stint. Effectively, it's a full stint to the end. So they are going to have to save their stuff, especially if you want to battle it out now, because he knows that Brophy and Oster are going to swap through the little two-car tangle up to the front. And Akabueze, I think, is also aware that he's sitting in behind 91.
This battling, it's fun, but it's going to wear their stuff out, I'm sure.
Yeah, no matter what Brophy and Oster can do, the others are so close behind them, they're just going to slipstream back up to them, no matter how much they try to work together to break away. So in behind, Ike and Orman side by side into turn 2.
Whoa, Orman, really committed.
That was a little bit scary there as well. You saw him walk up the hill just a little bit, but he was able to stay committed and get the spot in 5th. They are starting to lose a little bit of time to Akabueze up ahead, so they may not want to fight for too long.
Yeah, so 4-car breakaway here. Jesper Orman and Ike bring up the rear, or bring up the front of that second group here. Will we see another caution? That's the other question I have, is with the aggression level picking up, it's not just these guys fighting, it's everyone else too.
I mean, everyone is still fairly close together. I mean, obviously people can't see it at home, but our timing screen, it lights up red when everyone's close together, and I can tell you there's a lot of red, especially in the top 10. So there definitely is a big chance of a caution coming out. If you just ran normally to the end, I would say no, but after that restart, everyone's still maintaining in a pack together. The chances are still high. All it takes is that one mistake from someone with getting tighter for position. Laps starting counting down. We got just about 20 laps to go here.
Yeah, we've seen at times also the crash happen at the front. I mean, how many big races have we seen? Think back to Texas a couple of years ago. There was that big wreck in turn 1 where Malechka was involved. It's high stakes, money on the line. People are racing hard. They're not going to give in.
Curious to me is when's going to be the tipping point for Malechka when he starts to push. 10 laps, 7 laps, 5 laps.
And side by side for the lead again. Yeah, I mean, again, I think they're just using up a lot of tire for me.
Thinking about Hamilton Akabweze sitting in 4th as well. He does not want Oster to win this race. Separate out the points total of all the inroads that Akabweze has made in the last couple weeks. Wants to make sure that he can at least finish ahead of the 16. At least close that gap a little bit. He's at least going to close in on Orman. But of course, again, we always talk about that one mistake. It can all go away.
Working just under 20 laps to go. And keep an eye on Andreas Eick, too. He was actually quicker than the leaders last time by 41.6 to the 41.7s run by the top 3. Things are getting a little spicier here. Comes Malechka looking to the outside through the tunnel turn. That was a little bit of a look. Getting some air on the nose.
Yeah, he's been getting a lot closer this last lap, and I wonder if he is trying to push maybe a little bit more or trying to maybe test the waters if the runs off the corner or what he's up there. But he is running a lot more aggressive, a lot more closer to these guys up in the front here. There he goes. To the inside, Oster around Brophy, Malechka around Oster.
And to the lead, just like that. Look at Akabweze slide across Brophy's nose. Game on.
Even the leaders talk about something. Not sure if something's going on.
I think they're maybe strategizing or cooperating or what's the gist? Oh boy, we're going to try 3. Akabweze thought about sticking the nose in there.
Couldn't quite make out what they were talking about. Not sure if they're short on fuel or not. I think everyone should be good.
I don't see, unless they've really turned the engines up. All the maps all the way to full power.
Yeah, they should be good to go even at fuel map 1, which is what they normally run at. They should be good at the end, so I'm not sure. Something else going on. But regardless.
Oster, Malechka, Akabweze. Here comes Malechka again to the inside of the 16. And once again, power slide versus I5G. And it is just going to be really dicey. Watch that 7 way up the racetrack in the wall.
Yeah, Brophy made a late dive on Akabweze, and that forced him to go up the hill, maybe almost into the wall. So he got caught out there. Brophy now up to 3rd. Oster switching back ahead of Malechka. Now Brophy going to be a point in this battle.
These guys are racing
the inside.
These guys are racing really hard. And who's someone who doesn't have draft right now, but is not racing that hard is Andreas Eick in the 76. And
he's got a little bit. Not a lot, but he's just in the lane.
I think he's just in the right spot, though. With these guys battling, he's got enough laps left to get there. I like where he's at. Oh, watch the push on Brophy. Malechka's up the hill. These are our teammates here. Power slide cars, the green and red.
Hello, 3 wide.
And the 7 is not, as we see.
We'll be back to fourth. Wait, third. Malechka second. Trying to catch back up to Oster. Looks like Orban's lost the slipstream, so he falls back in sixth place. He's actually under attack by Andrew Marquez. We've got a battle going on for sixth place. So effectively, the top five are going to be where your winner may come from here as they run. Ike Lane back in fifth place, arguably strategically.
You're getting blown up.
Top four going at
your phone buzzing. Popular boy. Got a date?
No, just, you know, the time of day when the group chat just...
Group chat?
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. I hate group chats with it. I cannot. Anyway, I'm stuck in a group chat, and I don't know how to get out of it. So, it's really the worst thing's ever happened to me in my life, actually. So, oh, look at this. Look at Akaboise. Huge run to the inside. He is waiting for nobody. The 7 to the top spot. Passes 2 in one
here.
corner.
He's gonna go up, and we'll get it done.
Wow.
Oster now coming back. A big run. He's not letting this up. Immediately moves to the inside on the straightaway. And we'll get the spot done.
You are snoozing now. Wake up. Something about, you know, buying the whole seat. You only need the edge right about now. The next 12 laps.
Look who else also caught back up. Andreas Eichen in 76. He's off the rear wing of Brophy.
Again, I think that 76 has conserved tire very effectively. Again, you're not going to lose a lot of pace by battling hard, but you're going to lose drivability, maneuverability. Rashad Craig is going to hit pit lane. That's surprising. Maybe not.
I think he could have made it concerned a little bit, but it would have been close. Whoa, as Akaboise gets close to the wall. Brophy making a move. Oster making a move on the 7.
Busy out here.
It is very busy. It's time to go.
Watch
about 10 laps to go.
91 trying to get the pocket to the outside of Akaboise. He will get there. And he's going to ride the rim here. Watch this.
Stuck him behind for a second. Around the outside. Going to build that run. And there he goes. Big run down the front straightaway.
Make it look easy. 2 by 2. Noah's Ark into turn 1. 11 laps to go.
Oh, car coming out of the pits ahead of him. It's Rayshon Craig.
Bad timing for Craig.
Looks like he's going to stay to the left a little bit. I think the cause of leaders should check up just a second just to make sure they didn't get in contact with him and let all the leaders on by.
Big block. Brophy got blocked by the 16. And now they're side by side in the tunnel turn. Malechka and Brophy. Those two teammates have been a lot more side by side than I would have thought they'd be. Watch the 7, Akaboise trying to repeat. And then the 76 is now here. But what do you do? Where do you go? 10 to go.
Malechka moving to the inside. Brophy trying to keep Akaboise at bay and behind. And Grace Ike having a look to the inside as well.
Yeah, this is when the commitment starts to get real big now. 10 to go. You got to be in the top 3 or 4 now. If I'm Ike, I would like to move out a couple spots. Get by Akaboise. We'll see what strength he's got left, or if he'll just patiently wait back here and pick up the scraps. Just like Kenny on the radio. Don't tell me what to do. Are you the driver? I'm the driver.
Here's a big drive from Malechka. Big move, and Brophy was also trying to make the move and essentially got blocked.
Yeah, that was pretty dicey in its own right, heading down the front straight. Watch this again from high above. And Oster by Malechka in the tunnel turn.
Jason Brophy kind of setting the third man in this fight.
Boise setting up for a good run. He's three and a half tenths back at the exit of turn 3, but he's going to draft right back up to Brophy, I think, by the time we get to turn 1.
He got held up by Ike, who was trying to fight for that spot. Ike couldn't get that spot done. Was held up with Akaboise taking that outside line. We see a couple cars now ripping at the moment. I think as we're getting later on that run, that outside lane, better place to be.
I think your winner is going to be one of these front 3. Akaboise could steal it, but I think Malechka, Oster, Brophy, these have been the consistently strongest cars. They're in lockstep right now in this fierce battle for the Black Magic Studios 400. 153 laps and 7 to go this time. They're 1, 2, 3, 4 on top of each other.
Close at the line there. Here we go, 3 wide for just a second. Oster gets ahead of Malechka, and Brophy moving to the inside. Akboise also trying to move to the inside, but has to back out of it. Gets too tight.
The i5G and Powerslide cars are really strong. Look at the huge momentum that the 16 and 91 got on the bottom.
I was going to say, you really have to get back to double file at least for turn 2. It is really sketchy to go 3 wide. Last time at the line, 13 thousandths of a second separating the leaders.
2 hours of racing. And it's going to come down to these last 4 minutes with these 3.
Akboise making another move. Got a big head of steam here, and will clear Brophy. He's got to be careful here with Oster. He's going to catch him behind Oster and goes way up the track. You can see the effect of the wash.
That was a huge lift by the 7 to make the corner. Oh man, I thought Oster was going to grab the apron there. Got the left side tire on the paint.
We've seen in the past how deadly that can be. So David Adams effectively ending his race.
5 laps to go. The Black Magic Studios 400. Catalyst 317 Triple Crown, race 2 of 3. The final one will be at Indianapolis in a couple of months.
There we go. Oster and Malechka run from behind, off into turn 2. Oh, Oster slamming the door shut.
He bounced off the fence.
Yeah. I think he's too busy trying to find a way around. Actually, just lost track where he was, hit the wall a little bit. And Brophy blocking Akboise on the high line.
Getting personal now.
Defend third, yeah.
That was a line taken just in defense. And that 7 is going to try to move on through on the bottom. But we saw that didn't work out last time this late in the run. 26 laps into the run. I don't think you can hold the bottom here full throttle with the car to your outside, and he'll tuck back in.
Yeah, you really can't, unless you really dive it in and kind of save it on the exit. But even then, it's so hard being that far back in the pack because the leaders are going to block off that inside lane. You might have to come up with a different strategy, try to work around the outside. That's easier said than done as Malechka goes back to the lead. Oster, see if you can make a move in turn 3 here.
Oster's going to go up to the high side, coming to 3 laps to go. 2 minutes, and we sort this one out.
Here we go, weaving down the front straightaway.
To the outside, if you can pin that 91 down, you're not only going to hurt him for the corner, but the rest of the lap. I like having the power move on the outside. Malechka is going to try to clear Oster. He will do just that.
Brophy got really close to the wall in turn 1, but he's trying to catch back up. Andreas Ike around Hamilton Akboise for 4th.
Being on the outside is a scary place to be, but if you force the guy to lift, that's the way to win this race, but it comes with a huge risk.
There goes Brophy back up to the point. In the third, right in behind this low offset in turn 3. Back single file on the exit.
2 laps to go. Here comes Oster to the inside now, trying the other lane this time.
Goes to the inside, might be able to clear at least enough to send it to turn 1.
Brophy to the inside, from 3rd place out of nowhere, rockets to the bottom, and Brophy takes the lead away.
I was looking at a completely different angle. He snuck up on me. I didn't even realize he was anywhere close to making a move. Now trying to defend, taking the inside lane away. Here comes Malechka with a big move. He's going to take the inside in turn 2.
Yeah, it caught everybody by surprise, but it didn't last long. Malechka back to the top spot. Now it's 2 power slide cars out front, and i5G is going to have 3 miles to figure it all out.
Let's see, what are they going to do here? Coming out of turn 3, white flags and be in the air.
Last time around Pocono in the Black Magic Studios 400, Malechka and Brophy, teammates side by side on the front straightaway. Oster watching from behind. We got Orman and Marquez chase each other to the checker on the front straightaway. That's wild stuff. And I think Malechka's kind of playing rear gunner here a little bit.
Brophy, big send to turn 1 and compromise his exit. Here comes Malechka with the run with Oster as well. Can he get there by turn 2? He will.
Oster
on the outside.
3 wide in the tunnel turn. You can't do that. Somehow they come out the other side in one piece. Malechka leads. Brophy muscles his way back to 2nd. Oster trying to find anything to do but I5G, I think it's going to come up short, but now it's a battle between the power slide cars to the checkers. Malechka and Brophy. It's Malechka by inches.
0.003 of a second to Malechka at the line.
That was unbelievable. 0.003 of a second between those two teammates. That was cool.
I was gonna say, that's exactly what Brophy needed to do. Unfortunately, just thousandths of a second short. That's fractions of an inch. The last move he could have made was leading just a hair, and actually Malechka came back a split second before the line.
Oh boy, what a battle to the end here. I mean, how about this? I mean, that's pretty unbelievable. I mean, I can't even... So let's do this. There's your margin of victory. That's crazy. I don't know if I've seen a finish that close in a long time in iRacing in general.
No, we really haven't. That was a fantastic fight. It was across all three of them at the end there. Especially that move by Oscar, 3-1 to turn 2, but... Brophy, you can see, he gets it for a second there up ahead, and then Malechka, that run off the corner we've seen all night long work. He gets it right at the line.
Yeah, great finish here to a long race. There is margin. Great fight all around. Let's head back to live pictures and show you the race results here after all of that was said and done. 0.003 of a second between the teammates, and there's the rest.
Yeah, really solid job there. And of course, the big thing is that both of them not fighting for the championship. And also, they're still some decent points away from Jacob Oster and Hamilton Ackerboys, who finished 3rd and 4th. Andreas Ike rounding out your top 5. Orman Marquez, Forsyth, Holgate, and Musselman, your top 10.
Look down the rest of the order. This is where things start to unravel. We didn't really talk about Joe Branch at all tonight. Just kind of an also ran, unfortunately. Just didn't have the pace to be up at the front. And then Julian Altena, we saw him competitive at the beginning, ran up front, but not enough at the end to do much with it. And then we saw the issues for Craig, Adams, Kitchell, and Blebel, and of course Shawan and Mark Murphy out with crash damage. But what a battle we saw tonight in the Blackmagic Studios 400. Got a couple of drivers waiting to chat, and one of them in particular I wanted to chat with about a particular move. It is our second place finisher, Jason Brophy. Let's pull Jason in first, talk with the 88 driver. Jason, what an incredible finish there between you and Robert Malechka. But I wanted to go back even before that and go back to, I think it was lap 155. Let's watch this. This run. Actually, no, it was lap 159. Watch this move that you did into turn 1. Where'd this come from?
It was just a matter of trying to figure out what I could run for tool, and finally I got it clear. I was a little sideways, but the car was really good, so I had pretty good confidence. I knew it wouldn't hold down the straightaway, but I don't know if Jacob washed up a little more than I expected, and then I was able to help Rob down the straight to get us 1-2. You know, it was I knew it'd stick. The track temp was low enough, car was good enough. I knew it'd stick. I just didn't know if I'd have enough momentum to hold on to it off the corner, and Rob did a great job of setting up the crossover so we could keep him out.
Well, that was a fantastic battle there, but then the last lap in the battle with Oster, that was fantastic stuff there. Almost like Malechka was playing rear gunner for you for a moment, but kind of picked the pocket right at the end. Take me through your thoughts, turn 3 coming around to the finish. You had the nose ahead. How hard were you pushing forward in that sim rig to try to beat out your teammate there?
Honestly, I think I expected Rob to cut low. You know, he was making sure as a team we won. Neither of us are racing for points. So he was making sure as a team we won here. So I was kind of surprised, and I probably didn't get it right coming to the line, didn't, you know, adjust everything I needed to. He wanted to give me PTSD from the Indy 500 last year because, you know, I lost by 2 thousandths there, and this time it's 3 thousandths. So, and I thought I was ahead. Yeah, it's a good team race, team victory. Glad he didn't sell it, helping make sure we won't 1-2. But, you know, I would have taken it.
Yeah. I mean, what a great race. After 2 hours of racing to come down to 3 thousandths of a second. Unbelievable. There's a shot of the finish. Jason, thanks for talking to us. Congratulations. Job well done tonight.
Thank you very much.
Let's chat with our third place runner, Jacob Oster, in the number 16. Led the most laps tonight, 53 on the evening, but came up 0.3 short while the teammates ahead ran side by side across the line. Jacob, take us through your night. Certainly not maximizing the points because those other two drivers are not running for the championship, but better than everyone else that is, so there's a silver lining there.
I mean, I guess I can say it's all my own fault because I was the one talking to them before the race and telling them that maybe we need extra people, and then they ran. So I guess I dug my own grave, but it's all about points here, really. I wanted to win all 3 Triple Crowns, but maybe I'll just win 2. It would have been a nice little monetary bonus, but maybe next time.
Yes, that's left on the table, and the race win is as well. But we shift our focus to the other rounds we have here this season. And you've had a great year so far. Points are really the thing on your mind. Now we head to Mid-Ohio again next week, and that's another road course. We've got one more of those, but the other race is Nashville and Indy. How do you feel about the championship hopes right now, given you came in with a fairly sizable lead and should extend that tonight?
Well, I feel really confident Mid-Ohio. The Pro Series and Pro Qualifying Series really prepared me for that track, so I can roll in there with a really good setup base. Long Beach, too, I feel really confident there, and I feel like I could at least get a podium, if not fight for a win. Nashville is not my strong suit. I did not do that well there in Pro, and that's about the only time I've ever tried at that track, so we will see, and then just focus on Indy and just finish out the year strong.
Jacob, thanks for talking to us. Congratulations. P3 tonight in the 16 i5G car. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And Robin Lechka joins us now. Just jumped in with the 88 and, man, put on a show at the end there. We saw that big move on the penultimate lap from Brophy into turn 1. That was a little dicey, but then on the last lap, you just steal it on the high side, 3/1000ths of a second. Take us through your race. It was a slow start, but there was a plan to it the whole time.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle. Yeah, just kind of got into this race last second there, and had an idea what the car was going to do based on open on Monday and yesterday. Actually, we all got a good S11, but yeah, just kind of it's a really long race, right? So I'm just kind of rode around, protected the car, knew right away that it was going to be a bit of a fuel save, and I think that actually caught a few people out. But yeah, we got a few yellows there, and yeah, name of the game really this whole race was fuel, right? And be as light as you can at the end, have the freshest tires as you can at the end. And that's what myself and Jason did there. And then those last 5 laps, always a pleasure racing with Jacob and Hamilton and Jason. Always hardwood fair racing, and glad that we could get a Power Slide Team Hype 1 and 2 there.
Yeah, great racing, great show. Thanks for coming in tonight and joining us and putting it on for us. So congratulations. It's a Triple Crown victory for the Power Slide guys and you in the number 91. So congratulations. Thanks for the photo finish there. That was fun.
Yeah, it's it's funny that it's the exact same finish where Jason and I finished
the 500.
Fixed 500. So I just had to kind of rub it in one more time for him. So yeah, thanks, Kyle. Take care.
Yeah, why not? Have a great night and appreciate your time.
Yep.
All right. Well, Finian, wrapping things up here from Pocono. Long race tonight for sure, but they put on a show as they always do. And, the big ovals are a lot of fun. We got one more of those on the calendar with Indy at the end of the season. But next week, we head back road racing to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
Yeah, looking back to heading to the road courses to get some action done. I mean, these guys put on a great performance, whether on a road course, on an oval. Saw some fantastic racing tonight, but a much shorter race ending to Mid-Ohio on the road course should be interesting. We've seen some fantastic races at Mid-Ohio as well.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. Some of my favorites actually have been on this racetrack. It's just always a good time. Looking forward to it. Thanks for watching us tonight from the Tricky Triangle here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Kyle Heyer alongside Finian D'Acuna. We'll see you next week.